What's poppin', Jam fam? It's your boy, Omni Jam, aka Papa Jam. How's it going? Thank you for the raid, Saralina. We're still getting properly set up, but yeah, tonight's the game club. Um, for everybody that was watching Saralina's stream that's still here, thank you for sticking around. Welcome. She's very cool and she's very good at Mobile Legends. I am not good at any MOBAs, so I can't make that same commitment to MOBAs like she can. But I appreciate the support, regardless. One of the people here tonight is gonna be Julian, who you might hear stuttering in the background while he's getting set up as well. But we're gonna be playing. Actually, we're not going to be playing anything at the moment. We're going to be doing the game club, which, if you haven't already guessed, is like a book club, but for video games. There's a little idea that I and we came up with a couple months back, and we decided to play Final Fantasy II. Since a lot of us either had weird feelings about it, or never actually played it or finished it, we decided to make that a game that we could all knock out. So tonight we'll be discussing. We should have all played up to the reclaiming of Finn's castle, or Castle Finn, and we'll be discussing everything up to that point, our experiences as well, and then later on in the month, we'll have another game club about this where we will be discussing everything up to the end and post game, whatever that may be. So. You're more than welcome to join. I have a link to my Discord and my Twitter bio and under my Twitch and all that stuff. So feel free to join, select the game club role, and you'll be more than welcome to be joined. And it looks like we got our second member joining as well. So I'll introduce the members that are here of Lazy Gaming Guys, who you can find at youtube.com/lazygamingguys. We have Julian and we have Scott. Julian, Scott, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Better now.
Yeah.
That was wild.
It's been a rough night.
Yeah, Scott has had a wild experience tonight. What exploded?
A transformer.
The transformer in front of my house.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Apparently, when they built it 20 years ago, they didn't realize, or they didn't care, that a wire was touching a metal pole. So over the years, it's been sparking between the two.
Oh my god!
Slowly eating away the insulation of the wire, and it finally fully ate away at it, and then when it touched, it blew it out.
Well, that's right. I forgot. Y'all moved into. Oh my god! Y'all moved into y'all's house like 2 years before I moved into mine. Holy shit! It's been 20 years. Ah!
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun.
The hands of time never stop. Well,
thankfully,
you're okay though, right?
Too bad happened. Yeah.
No,
Yeah, we had to call the fire department
and
and everything else because it was smoking. They came out and were like, no, there's no fire actually going on in it. Like, so we'll just wait here until like the energy company gets here, just in case. And then once the energy company got there, they opened it up and we're like, no, like we just need to fix some stuff. So they fixed it. Everything's fine now.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
He's lying to you. He's not okay. He's
I mean, mentally, I'm probably not okay at this point, but
hey.
But at least I have power again.
Yeah, they did a good job of getting you back up and running. Pineapple is somebody new in the chat. They're coming from Saralina's raid. They asked if you were okay. You just answered that, and Saralina said that Mama and Papa were in the stream. So I don't know if they got switched over in the raid or not. But if they're here, welcome, Mama and Papa Lita. I'm Papa Jam.
Hey, welcome.
Mucho gusto. So we still have a third member of LGG. He's running late for whatever reason. But I think
I know why.
But I think we'll go ahead and we'll start getting started. First of all, with just sort of little shout outs.
Very upset you wouldn't let me continue playing.
Scott, do you have anything you want to promote or plug before we get started on the discussion?
I will always promote or plug the Ronin Council podcast over on SoundCloud. You can find it under the Exiles Network. Great podcast of anime news and anime discussions. We just recorded recently. We'll be switching up some stuff, so the previous episodes won't be quite like the ones going forward. We're going to try and have more consistent stuff and more bite-sized going forward. So it's still evolving. We're still kind of gaining our footing, but look forward to some really cool stuff if you like anime, manga, stuff like that news.
from those ones that are just like super
Yeah,
long.
the
And
the
that I
new
played
episode or the new episode we talked about the quote unquote dark trio of shonen.
Dark Trio.
Yeah, if you want to learn more about it, watch the Ronin Council when our new episode goes live.
Oh, that's not fair.
It's what cringy edgelords right now are calling what they claim to be the new big three.
Interesting.
Oh,
I don't follow anime as much as I probably should, but your podcast seems like a good way to get caught up.
Yeah.
And then Julian, do you have anything you want to promote or plug or share?
Only thing you already shared it. At least I promote the Lazy Gaming Guys at lazygamingguys.com, youtube.com/@lazygamingguys, twitter.com @lazygamingguys. We also have a Gmail. We also have a Gmail that I had to actually delete a bunch of shit from today. 3guyscontrol@gmail.com.
Oh, I'm gonna sign you up for all the newsletters.
Why is all the spam showing up now? Curse you, Omni.
All right. Thank you for the follow, Pineapple. I appreciate the support. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll get started talking about this game. Before we go into any details, are you guys hot or cold on this game in general?
I'd say I'm having more fun than I expected.
Hello, I am here.
Oh, hey.
The third member of
I'm
LGG is here. Jock, say hello
Did
to
you wipe the
everybody.
lipstick off your face?
No, I didn't.
Chuck was wearing lipstick?
I'm currently here looking like a clown that escaped the insane asylum.
Well, you're always a clown, so it's.
Have a good night, Saralina. Thank you for stopping by.
I look like we got Keith Ledger at home.
Well, I can only get so erect, so we got most of the intros out of the way. Did you have anything you wanted to promote or plug before we got started into the conversation?
I have been very inactive on the internet aside from Lazy Gaming Guys as of recently because of health things and because of physical health things and mental health things. I plan on getting active again, but until I do, I don't really feel good plugging any of my shit.
Fair enough. You do have a Twitch. You do stream with YouTube. So just follow Discords, follow my Twitter, all that good stuff, and you'll definitely see Jock around.
Maybe.
So Scott, you were saying you're having more fun than you thought, Julian, or do you have more?
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, like, as far as the gameplay goes, the story is very
very
basic.
straightforward. Very basic. It's basic as fuck.
Oh, it's like it's like an over 30-year-old game or something.
And Julian, Jock, are you sort of more or less hot or cold on the game?
I pretty much like this story doesn't really hit any major notes for me. It's your basic plot of war-torn people trying to destroy an evil dictator.
And Jock,
I mean, like, for me, it's been like, although I was a full disclosure, by the way, I think close to where we were supposed to get to, but I wasn't able to get to where we were supposed to get to because of one, I'm not gonna procrastination, but two, like, issues on my part when trying to get started. But yeah, I did get to the point where I just destroyed the Dreadnought.
Oh, okay, so yeah, you're a little ways behind.
Yeah, you have like maybe 2 or 3 story things you got to get through, but that's fine.
Yeah,
we're going to be discussing up to the taking of Castle Finn, so one way or another you'll get caught up. And also, I will have some stuff to say that should help you if you don't mind doing a bit of grinding. I am
a bit OP right now. I'll let you know. I don't know if we're
OP?
Yeah, was it? So I'm going to go over how I started this game. I don't know, later, I guess, when we get to that section.
Yeah.
But
I'm very curious to see how each of us ended up so far.
My opinion on the game is, honestly, I'm actually having a lot more fun with the game than I thought I would, which is interesting because I guess this is also kind of like the purpose. I was telling Kate this is kind of the purpose of what was it? like book clubs where you would like read things you usually wouldn't. Normally would not have played this game, but I'm actually enjoying it more than I thought that I probably would have. More than I thought I would.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I came in totally blind. I don't have any spoilers. I know that there's kind of a mixed reaction on this game. Usually I hear more negative stuff about this game than positive. I'm having a blast. I am super enjoying Final Fantasy 2. It's wild. And I'll sort of explain more and more how we get into that. I'm also I have a tendency to let sincerity take me, so like I'm enjoying the story more than we probably could with all the experiences that we've had, but I'm sort of like letting it wash over me, and so and there are times I have to take a step back and okay, this is happening, I have to be in context with the game. But we're gonna get into all those story beats. I figured the best way that I could host this was, rather than having a hodgepodge of conversation, I brought up the Final Fantasy 2 wiki, and we will read through it, and we will sort of discuss what our experiences were as we went through. Yes.
Is Final Fantasy 2 a direct sequel to Final Fantasy 1? Because
No.
Okay, so that's the weird thing is like when it starts, I was like, I feel like the game assumes that I already know these people and what's going on.
The game is just starting you out in showing you that yes, there is a war going on and stuff like that. Like that's the whole purpose of it. It's just
like,
to.
I don't really feel like
it's a plot device.
I really don't feel like my character
care about Firion, Maria, Guy, and the other one.
Yeah,
who I renamed.
I don't. That's the thing, right? I don't feel like the characters were ever actually introduced to me. It's just like, here we are, let's go.
Yeah. There's not a lot.
Not in the first game where it's like,
I feel
hey,
like
there you go.
for these old games, we're missing an instruction book. Because remember, all the background info and like the lore and stuff would be in the instruction book. I think that's what we're missing when we play them these games on their own.
I mean, you also have to remember, it is an older game. Like, the plots aren't typically as complex, and this is the second one.
Well,
like, it's more complex than Final Fantasy 1 by a long shot.
I'm gonna be comparing this to 1 a lot.
10, or something like that. Like, comparing it to like Final Fantasy 10 or 12 or 14 is like, it's just not feasible.
Lag also is here, in case I didn't mention it earlier. He's trying to get into it. He has a 5 out of 10 on this game, so sort of middling. But he's gonna stick with the game club, so that's what we like to hear.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and I'll start here. This is the intro that you get at the start of the game, so we all know. What console is this game on? This game is on practically every console. It originally came out for the Nintendo, but we're playing for the majority of the Pixel Remaster. You can also play an emulator on your PC. I'm sure there's like a HTML version. You just Final Fantasy 2 online and you just play it there for free. And then you can play it on your Game Boy, your DS. It's everywhere. PSP.
I've been playing it on my girlfriend's. I've been playing it on my girlfriend's Switch. She let me borrow it. Yeah.
But Jacques, why aren't you playing it on PC?
Screw you. Anyway, so
you will tell the story.
That's gonna be a story for later.
Tell the story.
Eat a dick.
Well, we have the game club right now.
Yeah, we have.
We'll tell the story. We'll tell the story in a little bit, but we're gonna tell the story before I have to leave.
Yeah. So a little background on the game from the wiki. Final Fantasy 2 is the second installment in the Final Fantasy series. It was released in December 1988 for the Famicom. It eventually re-released for the PlayStation, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation Portable, iOS, Android, other platforms. The game takes place in a world during an empire taking over the. I'll just read it. A long-lived peace is at an end. The Emperor of Palamecia has called forth monsters from the underworld, so hell monsters, and has begun his campaign for world conquest. A rebel army arose in the kingdom of Fynn to thwart the Emperor's plan, but the rebels' castle fell to an all-out assault by the Empire. Left with little choice, the rebels withdrew to the remote town of Altair. 4 youths from Fynn also found themselves fleeing the Imperial forces. They had lost their parents at the hands of the Empire, but their escape wasn't over. So immediately, you're fighting hell demons, your children fighting hell demons, orphan children fighting hell demons.
No, you're not children. You're more
like
how
old?
You're like young adults. You're like teenagers.
Yeah, you're like teens.
I think they're supposed to be like 15, 16.
You're on the younger side because of what comes up next from Princess Hilda, but you are definitely not mercenary adults. You're kids of some level.
You're You're definitely at least just teenagers at best.
You are wee babes.
Immediately in the intro, there's a lot of cliches. I don't know if these were as prevalent in the 1980s as they are now, but these are all sort of things that we've seen in the past. But I like the presentation. Do you remember what like, you know, you're leaving, you have the battle that you're the unwinnable battle.
The unwinnable battle.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that. I like that it's something you can play and that you can do when the game starts.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that they get over. They just kind of jump to the.
The little beginning.
The best part of it is that unlike other games where they kind of give you an inclination that you might actually have a chance, it kind of just says no. You miss all your hits in the beginning and you just.
Well, I mean, yeah. Once you miss the hits in the first character, it's like 400 damage. You're kind of like, oh, I'm not supposed to win this.
Yeah, but how many games have we played? How many RPGs have we played, Scott, that literally give you the option to actually try, and then it's like, no, you're gonna lose anyway.
Yeah,
I kind of like it when games
later
like
ones.
I kind of like it when games give you an enemy that's like super, like almost impossible to beat right at the beginning, but it is possible if you're good enough, but you're probably not good enough.
This one is literally impossible.
I know.
Yeah. This one is.
There is no feasible way you will ever win this.
Which is fun because it's sort of like precursor to what we see today. Because I feel like we wouldn't have as many of those, you know, winnable but tough battles if it wasn't for games like this and sort of starting it off. So it's sort of like a touchstone for gaming history.
True.
Yeah, and as far as I know, it might be like the first one of those in RPGs. Like, period. Like the first really unwinnable battle.
Yeah, because in the first game, you start off in the quote-unquote end dungeon, and you are supposed to win that battle against, like,
Chaos.
Chaos.
Garland, yeah.
Garland, there you go.
Chaos. You are supposed to win that. And whereas this one, it kind of plays on that fact from the first game, where it's like, oh, you're supposed to win it, and then this one just immediately wipes you out.
And they do
which
that
I'm sure was actually very interesting for people going from Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 2. I should also stress this fact real quick too. For anyone wondering, this only really applies to Japanese audiences at the time, since Final Fantasy 2 never came to the West until the PlayStation 1. Final Fantasy 2 in the West was Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah. So we're not talking about 4.
Yeah, we're having to talk about this as. For people at the time, it was Final Fantasy 2 only in Japan. So just in case anyone was curious about, like, you've seen Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo and stuff, that was not the same Final Fantasy 2.
Because these people still exist in the world somewhere. Yeah. That there's still people in the U.S. somewhere that still. Yeah,
there's people that might not have been into Final Fantasy and don't know all of this. So I just want to kind of make that clear for everyone.
So after that intro. The Emperor of Palamisia summons. Okay, I'm reading from the wiki again. The Emperor of Palamisia summons forth monsters from hell to dominate the world. Firion, Maria, Guy, and Leon. A new fact. Yeah, Pineapple. New fact unlocked. And Leon are orphaned when the Empire attacks Fynn, and they are cut down by Imperial soldiers as they flee. Firion, Maria, and Guy are rescued by forces belonging to the Wild Rose Rebellion, led by Princess Hilda, and taken to Altair to be revived. But Leon has gone missing. Though they ask to join the rebellion, Hilda refuses due to their youth and inexperience. And this is what I was talking about earlier. One of the first things that you're told when it comes to this game is you shouldn't fight. You're not strong enough to fight. Yeah. Let everybody else fight because we can't be responsible for kids like that.
And they so quickly just change their mind.
Yeah, right? It's like, this dude is too dangerous. You shouldn't go to Castle Flynn. Your next mission is to go to Castle
We're really determined.
Immediately go there, come back, and then it's like, oh shit, well, I guess, okay, you could fight.
I guess if you're determined enough, you can go fight. I
mean, like, literally, the princess tells you, like, Hilda tells you, don't go to Castle Flynn in her first conversation with her. And then, like, the next person tells you, go to Castle Flynn. And then you go talk to her, and she's like, why have you gone to Castle Flynn yet?
And it's like, well, we got this. Okay, okay, I'll sort of encompass this the whole thing, because there is a pause there that I definitely want to go over. Also, my boy's here. Welcome, my boy.
Hey.
So. Firion, Guy, and Maria return to Castle Fynn, and find Prince Scott on his deathbed. He tells the party of Count Borgin's betrayal and asks them to encourage his brother Gordon, who is afraid to join the rebels. Scott asked them not to tell Hilda his feelings for her and give them a ring to take back just before he dies. Returning Scott's ring convinces Hilda that Furion's group is strong enough to join the fight. So they do a task to prove that they can fight and that they're willing to
I
fight.
don't get how that
Yeah.
shows that they're strong enough, though.
I really
Like,
don't.
damn,
Yeah.
you snuck
Sorry.
in and found this dude on his deathbed, and he gave you a ring to bring back to me. Clearly, you can fight the forces of hell.
I mean, it
Yeah.
does. It does
Well,
show.
I
It
get
does
it.
show. It
Well, I'm
does show
just
that they're capable.
assuming.
But my biggest thing is literally that she tells you not to go, and then the next person that you turn to tells you to go there. And if you like get lost on where to go, like I did, like, where it's just like, okay, I went there.
Yeah, you got
what
to
the
level
hell?
up RPGs and
Yeah.
having to talk to like every
Well-
NPC to figure out where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, right. But like, what was it? Like, so I was like, okay, so I went there. What now, right? I went back to talk to Hilda, and she was like, basically telling me that I should go there, and I'm like, weren't you the boy that told me not to fucking go there?
So I want to bring up a couple of things. First, in regards to the Hilda thing, in her defense, what she winds up doing is asking you to run fetch quests. She doesn't tell you to go fight the Dark Knight or anything like that. She just says, hey, go get this thing. You know, you can survive in the wild, which is interesting because now I want to go into the gameplay. I was so confused when this whole chunk of the middle of the map was just like level 1 and 2 monsters. I could not understand why
Well,
it was
there's
like
no
that.
levels.
Did you? But there's I haven't read it or anything, but I figure with my brain, there's a reason why the middle chunk is all 1 and 2s. Do you know why? Why I think that it's that way?
Why?
It's because of the leveling system. I immediately after talking to Hilda, instead of going anywhere, I went back to that main room because one of the NPCs tells you, hey, there's like 2 tutorials in there. Go talk to them. And I talked to all the people that were offering tutorials on this game. The way this is a precursor to the Elder Scrolls. You don't have levels, you have skills, and the more you do a certain task, the more that levels. And I was, oh, good.
They also, what the game doesn't tell you is that certain enemies will give you more experience to those levels.
Yeah, I sort of figured that out as well,
Yeah.
and it became a big faction later.
Yeah,
Factor
It's
later.
like the snow area that you will go to later actually is like, they will give you 4 times the experience.
So the reason why that whole middle chunk is level 1 and 2s is so that you can level up any skill that you want to start off with at that level. So they set up your party like this. Furion, who I named my Furion Omni, so but that's his name.
Okay,
That's
I kept
all.
all the standard names. So
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Nah,
name.
I changed my Furion's name. I just kind of like said I'm not gonna go. I called him Enix for no reason.
And then Maria and Guy, who I left. But I didn't know Guy's story. He just seemed autistic, honestly, because he would just speak in broken sentences.
I called Maria Violet.
That's fine. I don't see any
Her
problem
hair
with
is purple.
that. But here's something I didn't know until I read the wiki tonight about Guy, which there are other characters, but I've avoided reading them out of my periphery because I don't want spoilers. But Guy is a friend of Furion and Maria who was raised by wild animals before being taken in by Maria and Leon's parents. So Maria and Leon are brother and sister, I guess. While his grasp of the human language
yeah,
is limited,
you
Guy
should
has
know that.
the ability to
know
speak
that
with
part.
animals. I don't remember that. It never caught it. I never caught it.
During the destruction of the Dreadnought, she mentioned something about her brother.
I
Oh
don't.
yeah. Oh, she didn't. Not that she mentioned something about her brother. I was about to say, is this? I was about to say. Oh, I was going to ask everyone. Is it obvious that that guy that yelled out to him was like, "What have you done?"
Oh,
is her
we'll get
brother?
to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
I mean, yeah, I think there's not a lot of great foreshadowing with that, considering like we
Yeah.
literally named the 4 characters at the beginning. We haven't gotten the 4th
Yeah,
character
Yeah,
yet.
this
I
is all-
called. I also called Guy Ox.
But at the
I
same
don't know why
time,
I
she
called him Ox,
does.
I just-
She does at some point mention that Leon is her brother. Like I do remember that line of dialogue.
I don't remember it at all.
It was just a passing line of dialogue, but she does mention that Leon is her brother.
But yeah, Guy speaks and like he can't really. he
Guy's
doesn't-
thing, like, it was probably in the instruction manual.
Yeah,
What guy's thing?
he's
That he was raised by wild animals?
and then
Oh, I
adopted
did not
by
know
them.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is that why he talks like a fucking caveman?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about right
Yes.
now. Is like I didn't understand what his whole deal was,
I
but
was actually talking to someone when his dialogue like I'm tempted to name this man Big.
Yeah, well, yeah, that wouldn't be too terrible. Or Lenny? You should have named him Lenny.
Lenny, not Lenny.
um, so that's what I did. I sort of did the tutorial, and then I really started to mess around with the experience system. The way that the characters are set up, the way that they want you to do it is they want your character to be like a striker knight type. They want Maria to be a backlines archer, and they want Guy to be your tank. I said fuck that. So
Yeah.
she had the
I made Maria a mage.
oh Maria no for me Maria
that's
has
kinda
the
what she was intended to be.
Maria has the
Because
lowest
archery
strength
is
stat.
mage.
If you, I checked their stats. Maria had like level 5 strength, and the other two had like 10 or 11. So she's designed to be a backlines fighter. I put 2 swords in her hand, and I said, "You're going to the front lines." And I put Guy on the back line, and he was just spamming fire the whole game basically. And for people that played my played with me in D&D, I made my main character my old paladin Uog, where he was wielding a spear and a shield, and I was just poking at everything. And so I played rather than for meta or min-maxing, I just made characters that I wanted. So those were my 3 characters at the beginning. Did you guys do anything like that, or did you go with what they expected?
So, yeah, because what they expected is Maria to be your black mage, since she has the highest intellect, and Guy is supposed to actually be your healer.
Really?
Yeah, his starting stats are indicative of being a healer.
Interesting.
But I went. Furion has swords. He has swords. Maria and Guy have nothing. They fight barehanded. They both attack on the front line, and they punch things to death. And I have Maria will heal outside of battle and occasionally inside of battle, and that is it. That is all. I don't use any other magic whatsoever. Like, I punch things, they die. I heal if I need.
Wow.
That is all.
Wow. Okay. So. I turned Furion into essentially what is a knight in Final Fantasy 3 and 5, which essentially he is he used the sword, the shield. He can use 2 swords if I want to use 2 swords sometimes when I feel like it. And he also uses my cure, because I said I want to save Maria to just throw out magic constantly. And so he's been so pretty much he heals, he defends, and he heals, he uses his defense, he has decent defenses, and Guy I just kind of gave him every single blunt weapon I can get my hands on and get him proficient in that. He's good with axes, he's good with swords, good with 2 swords, 1 sword, fucking dude's a machine.
Jock, how did you start your characters?
All right, so interesting thing enough, right? Like I started like late because I ended up getting Kate Switch and started playing it on air basically on Sunday night. So like they told me to go to Castle Flynn, right? And I was like trying to figure out what to do, right? I fight one of the soldiers, I get wrecked.
Yeah,
right?
You're not supposed to.
So yeah. So what I ended up like doing, right, is like I'm trying to figure out where to go, and then I'm like, but then what was it? I go up into like the forest area where the enemies are just barely too powerful for me to fight, right? And at this point, I learned that magic is broken. I can teach any character that I want any magic, right? So
you can also use the magic in battle, like the tome itself.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did. That's what I did the first time. That's what I did like the first time I used it. But then like I tried, then I learned. I realized like that when I went into when I went into the menu, I think I was trying to use cure on somebody. It was like, oh wait, teach cure. Then that means you'll be able to. Okay, yeah, I'm teaching it. I taught it to Maria, right?
Imagine if you never realized that and you were just buying cure tomes.
Right?
Oh my god, you would have lost your mind.
Yeah, so what was it? Freaking I taught her cure, and then I bought a bunch of other magic, and I taught what was it? Furion, Thunder, and I didn't teach Guy anything. I eventually taught him like fire, but I didn't teach him anything for a little bit because I was just using him as a tank. But was it? And then I just went into the forest, like above Castle Flynn, where the enemies are just barely too strong.
Yeah.
And I just fought enemies until I was over leveled.
So you power leveled that early. I power leveled, but it was much
Oh.
later.
Oh no, I
Yeah,
power leveled
Oh,
pretty early. I said I need to get
power-
through this
I
shit.
power leveled before I went
Yeah,
to
so
Flynn to actually
before-
get Scott's pendant. So,
So before
Yeah, I have
I,
shit to do.
even got through Castle Flynn, I was already strong enough to beat the soldiers in Castle Flynn. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna get into that
I guess-
later.
Yeah.
yeah.
so,
Do we want to mention our stats right now for the
Our-
characters?
Our
Uh,
end games?
I haven't-
Not yet. Not
no.
yet. I don't think
no,
so.
I was gonna say our current stats.
No, not yet,
like,
not
where
yet.
we're at. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
'cause I can
HP
pull that
maxed
out. Yeah. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. but,
that's-
It's all
a-
999.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount of battle. of farming.
Also, like
Yeah, so,
Furion's
so-
sword skill is 16. So
yeah, it was because I was lost, right? Actually,
So
because his
good.
thing, right? Because I was starting late. There was like a couple of times I didn't want to do too much of this, but there was a couple times where I was like, okay, I don't have time to figure this out by myself. So I would like go and just see what's the very next thing I need to do, through like some kind of like guide or something, and then I would just do that and just keep on going.
Yeah, I don't.
And that's
blame
one of the things I did. That's one of the things I did for Flynn, where I was like, okay, wait, I can go around there and go into that building. There's a pub over there, right? So that's what ended up happening with that. And then I went through there, and then I realized, oh, I am way overpowered for everything. So I just kind of turned off encounters for like a lot of the stuff, and started like speeding through a lot of the game at that point. But yeah, so like that's pretty much what was my playthrough, honestly, so far up to this point.
Yeah.
I have a few things to mention later, but that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
I started.
So to sort of like put everything in perspective, I really like that this game sort of let you be completely open in how you built your characters that early. Because a lot of games would say like this is the area you're supposed to go to, and then you need an area, and then there's like an arbitrary like there's a rock slide here. You need to beat the boss to get the hammer to break the rocks to go to the. Whereas this game is just like if you can walk over there and survive, go for it. You're fine. And
kind of.
I really
mean,
like that.
There are a lot of spots you can't get to.
Well,
I tried
landlocked.
getting to a lot of spots.
If
yeah.
you, I'll pull it up on my stream, but you can walk. I prepped a map just for this particular purpose. You can walk most of the map.
'Cause I
and
tried to get the areas early in order to buy equipment, and like I was unable to get there until it's like, nope, you can't go there yet.
we haven't unlocked it yet, but you can walk to Mirian and get some of the best equipment.
I don't think you can.
Yeah, you can. Okay, I have the map on my stream.
Like it just looks like you can.
No, you just need the boat, but you can.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up your stream right now. So I
Yeah,
can
so we've got
see.
Altair.
Where's Marion? Put your cursor over Marion.
It's down here. We haven't in terms of the story we haven't unlocked it yet. Oh, I do want to get this comment from My Boy out of the way. For his characters, he had his main character as a dual shield, so 2 shields, one in each hand. A caster, he spam
should-
teleport, which if you didn't mess around with the spells in this game, they are chef's kiss. The spells are so stupid.
Yeah, no, this was a fucking.
Maria with the sword and shield, healer buffer, and Guy with the axe
right.
sword with magic buffs. But
I forgot to say
so,
what I gave
look.
Maria.
what'd you give her?
I
I gave her a staff and like a dagger.
That makes
Like,
I
so-
go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
So like if she's ever like if I ever have to like hit somebody, like she'll just like hit him she'll just like stab him with the dagger and then hit him with the staff.
Yeah, I never mess with the daggers. I need to open that. But if you have the boat, with just the boat, which we'll talk about a little bit later, here's the starting area. You can make it all the way up to Finn, which is what you're supposed to do, and then you're supposed to double back. But if you just walk down here, these are very
Yeah.
strong enemies, but you can walk and walk and walk, and there's a small river here. You've got the river, and you walk and walk and walk, and you have this whole area down here open. After you
Yeah,
cross this
like-
lake, you have this entire area all up here.
Like,
Open
Scott,
to
did you ever
you
use
down
the,
here,
Did you ever use the boat? Because
all
you can
down
boat
here.
across
the
that river.
boat, yeah, you can just easily go use the boat. Like it's not an issue.
The only
Yeah, so you should be
area,
able to get there. I don't
yeah,
see
the
issue
the
getting
only
there.
area you
There
can't
was
walk
something
to.
that's blocking.
Yeah, the only area. No, there isn't. The only thing you need is the boat. The only thing that you're
We'll
landlocked
test
out
that
of
in a second.
is this
Because I
and
am.
this.
I do have the game open currently.
Yeah, I have the map open. I also have the game open. That's what's in the background right now. But you can just walk. You just
By the way,
in this
there is-
area too.
One benefit to the Pixel Remaster that I very much enjoy
Turning off encounters.
versus the original. So in the original, you had to equip the amount of items that you had in battle, and you could only use 2. per character. You didn't have access to your entire item inventory during battles, and that
Oh, wow.
sucks. Like,
Yeah.
I never use
Yeah,
items in
that did
battles.
suck. I
um,
barely use item in battles, but yeah, like I've used a potion here and there and an antidote here and there, but I don't
Yeah,
use a
let's-
lot.
My boy said the
$20 off just to
removal
make
of
it
trap
quicker.
rooms was great. I don't know what trap rooms are. Well, unless they're like, trap rooms. Anyway, so that moving on to
So-
here. She sends. Okay, so you.
yeah, because let's see, it's like the bottom left corner you're talking about, right?
Yeah. You can just walk down there. You just walk down this path. There's nothing stopping you. And then there's this little river, and then you walk down. And this is a whole. This is like. I feel like this is sort of the end game area. This is where I did a lot of my farming. You just hoof it with a boat. Okay, so I'm gonna put on the chocobo theme. 'Cause that's fun.
Yeah, no, it was. It legitimately, I was like riding earlier today. I was riding in the car with my
I'm
girlfriend.
not even seeing anything down
And
here. But...
we were I was riding in the car with my girlfriend, and we were she was playing some music, right? And then I had to get like on a chocobo, and I was like, hold up. We gotta appreciate this for a second. I turned the music
Which, by
down,
the way,
turned the game up.
This was the first game in the series to have chocobos.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
Oh,
a lot about a couple more first for sure.
Yeah.
But so
I
yeah,
just wanted to mention that since we mentioned chocobos and their theme specifically.
there's so much freedom in the gameplay, and the only thing that really locks you out is your equipment, because it can be, even if you're power leveling, you'll notice like a huge jump in power once you upgrade your equipment. But beyond that, you can just
Sure,
go almost
equipment.
everywhere. When you get
I
to
totally use equipment.
when you
I
get to-
totally don't have 2 of my 3 characters with 0 equipment.
yeah, well, you made
Oh.
battle monks, which is fun, but
Yeah. Or I'm sorry,
Well, they can't-
3 of my 4 characters with 0 equipment.
Honestly, they can't be naked. They need defenses.
They're
They just
completely
can't be naked.
They are completely naked.
They
My
still need
evasion
defense
stat,
armor.
my evasion stat's 99%.
yeah.
You know, you can still put armor on them now
So
because
they-
your evasion
they don't
stat's
get-
so high.
No, if you put armor, it will lower your evasion.
Yeah,
Really?
it's you have to either commit or not commit for this game.
Also, for certain stats, if like when you gain strength, you lose MP. When you gain like intelligence and stuff like that, you lose strength stat.
I need to
so
lose MP, honestly. I've
You
so much-
actually have to like
I'm
when you
mildly
start committing to
confident.
something, you just need to just
Oh,
go ahead and commit.
You know, one
Unless you
by the
like
way,
really just absolutely can't.
speaking of
continue.
mechanics, right? This is a very minor mechanic. It's not like something super major, but one mechanic I did find interesting was like learning, like being able to progress the story or gain more information by learning like particular words or
The
particular
password
things to say to
system.
people. The password
Yeah,
system.
the password system I think is great until it's not at certain times.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know what the fuck.
Like having to talk to people and you missed one by accident and now you gotta go
Yeah.
back and like
that was the second time I got like
That's what I hated about one of the things I
like,
hated in the
it's-
original.
it's a very interesting concept.
yeah.
But a lot of it also just ended up turning into you learn like the person is like, oh, Mithril, and then you just immediately learn Mithril and then talk to the same person just now saying the word Mithril,
Yeah.
and it's like you couldn't have just had this as a second line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Like
But what was it?
I get why like learning it to use on a different person, but why am I still using it on the same person to learn
Yeah.
different information? Like
Oh,
you
Kinda
should have
wrong.
just continued your conversation about like
I-
where I should go to get Mithril instead of having to then ask you about Mithril.
I want to bring up two things on that. One, I think I remember one of the Dragon Quest games having a system like that, but you didn't have to learn the word; it was just put in your inventory once you heard it. Inventory,
Yeah,
quote
Golden
unquote.
Sun does too.
And then the other thing is that I feel like games of this era were also influenced by adventure or point and click games on like PC.
Yeah.
And they did like a lot of the password system, like you keep it and you sort of have to remember it. And instead of typing in on an NES controller, they just gave you a bank of words. I think that's what they were influenced by, if I had to make a guess.
One of the things that bugged me because I got stuck twice. I got stuck twice while playing this game. And I told you about the first time I got stuck, and the second time I got stuck was when it was time to like like figure out how to destroy the dreadnought. I didn't hit learn when I was talking to
That was
to
a joke,
Sid.
my boy.
Yeah,
I
with the fire.
Also, my
Yeah,
boy brought
that's
up
fair.
something interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't.
See,
I didn't
again,
hit
that's
learn.
where
So
learn having to hit learn can kind of suck.
yeah, so like I went
Versus
to talk to the
having
princess.
it
The
just
princess like,
automatically do it.
how will we ever destroy the dreadnought? But someone you must talk to Sid. Sid must know. I go talk to Sid. Yeah, use this thing. Go back there. How do we do it? And I'm like, my God, he just told me. And then I was like, and then I looked at the tutorial. Those other times I looked at the tutorial. I was like, oh, you hit learn.
I think I got stuck there too, and I had
That's
to do
right.
the same thing. My boy said you don't lose stats and level up anymore. That was removed because I didn't notice
Okay,
it. And then my
I
boy,
didn't know if that was removed or not.
yeah,
I
I
had to
did.
look up
because
skills
again,
level up.
I did no research
I-
on this game.
It was specifically like
Hold on,
I
I'll
am
be RB.
I'm committing to this,
Yeah,
so
Um,
I wasn't gonna notice stat losses or anything because I wasn't gonna swap
and
stats.
then and then my boy said it's like saying mythic. What's our mithril? What's that? And I just wrote question mark because that's what most of the people will say when you ask them a password they don't know.
if they even give you an option to ask them a password.
Oh, on the
'cause
Pixel
not
Remaster,
every
you
character-
can hit like you can choose it on all of them, but they just give you a question mark as a response. It's just bloop 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 bloop.
I love
Um,
how like you could bring up.
I don't know,
Like-
like this
like the
a
Rebel-
random NPC, it just won't.
Oh
like,
well,
pop up
anybody
the
you can ask questions to, you
Right,
can
and
ask
that's what I
them.
was saying was like you can't ask everyone.
No.
It's just only specific
That would
characters
be
that you can even
outrageous.
ask.
Yeah.
It's funny how you can bring up you can say Wild Rose and someone just goes what? it's not. It means nothing. Don't worry about
They
it.
do the head dog tilt. Uh-huh.
My favorite's like the blacksmith in the first town where you just mention it. It's like, haha, I'm just an ordinary blacksmith. Wild
Speaking of
Rose.
which,
Or am I?
speaking of which, let's get on to that point. So after we finally return from Fynn, Princess Hilda, she sends the group to Salamand in search of Mithril. Joseph, a member of the rebellion, was sent to search for it, but Hilda hasn't heard from him since. Hilda's right-hand man, Minwu, joins the party for this mission, our first fourth party member. The party finds Joseph, who is unwilling to give any information as the Palamecian Empire has kidnapped his daughter
Okay.
Nellie.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, welcome back. And Borgin is threatened to kill her if Joseph helps the resistance. He tells them to go to Summit Falls and free her, along with the townspeople who have been enslaved in the mines. They do so and rescue Paul, a thief in the rebellion's employ, who I totally forgot but makes a comeback later. After defeating one of the Imperial sergeants, the party takes the Mithril and returns to Altair. So this was our first dungeon, like our legitimate first dungeon
Yeah.
in this game.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel about it?
I barely remember it because I was too OP for it.
Yeah, same. Like I just auto battled and like that was it. But
My only memory from that dungeon
it
is
wasn't
from when
bad.
I played
I feel like it was a
the older
fine
version.
first dungeon.
How do you activate auto battle?
Square.
I thought it was
X,
a square.
Now, just so you know, for
Let's try
auto
that.
battle, it doesn't automatically attack. It uses whatever you used last.
Yeah, it just
Whatever commands
banks.
you, it repeats that.
Oh,
So you can set up something and then keep using it with square
yeah.
or auto battle, but make sure that like it will use whatever you just used. So
All right.
like I accidentally had that happen when I had fled from a battle and then hit square to just be like, oh, let me just auto battle this, and then suddenly everyone's fleeing. I'm like, wait, what? No, I wasn't trying
Yeah,
to
I
do
did that, and I did that in Fair, and just ended up wasting his time healing the entire fight.
Yeah, so just as a heads up, that's how the auto battle works. So don't think of it automatically as you're just gonna do attack, but it's very convenient. I do enjoy setting it up.
So I like the dungeon a lot. I like that they sort of made you go back and forth and sort of made it a little bit more natural to figure out the dungeon, because some of the previous and stuff after this is kind of esoteric in a way. But this one, it's like you talk to the only interesting person in town. He tells you where to go. You go there and then you come back. I mean, it's a bit more straightforward, but I like the going up and around the
Yeah.
river and doing all that. You're sort of landlocked if you don't have the boat, so you can't do it early. But I liked it quite a bit. Joseph is cool. It's for as long as he sticks around. And
Yeah, It seems to be a running theme in
Yeah.
the first half of the
how
game.
many- How many people
Like-
just like freaking leave you after you
How many people just
with the
die?
party?
Like,
If it,
Where I've at, only one of my party members like died and like hasn't come back, and that's that one monk dude that helps you in the snow area. He just like sacrificed himself, and I go talk to his daughter, thinking there's gonna be more. She's like, "Oh, Daddy's not coming back." I was like, "That's sad," but I expected sadder.
yeah,
That's sad. Anyway,
this game is so wild. I mean, because it's all bright and colorful and it's an old game, but this game is so dark. Like, there's so many character deaths, and there's the thing that got me, and I was gonna save this for later, but there's a scene after the Dreadnought attacks where you go to that Port Palm, I think. There's a character there who you spoke to before, and he was like hitting on Maria, but if you talk to him again, he's just like, they killed my daughter, and then he just stops talking. It's like, holy shit, these people are losing their lives. This is a dark world that they're in. If
I'll
you
be
let it,
honest, I did not talk to a lot
I do
of
wish
Yeah.
they would at
I
least
did talk to that
have,
guy, but I didn't like talk to him when he hit on Maria.
yeah, it was like before
I wish
when
they
everything
would
was
have at
happy.
least shown a little bit more of like, because with the damage and stuff, it's like, oh, unless you start talking to them, everyone else just looks like they're just having like going on their merry way. Like the town looks almost identical, except yeah, there was a little bit of damage, but all the shops are still open. Like everything is still
literally
just like
everything
the
is still
same
fine,
NPCs
man.
are walking around the same areas. It's like
I mean,
I
it's-
wish that
Yeah,
there had been
I did
less
notice that it didn't.
NPCs.
Unless
that
you
there had
unless you talk
been-
to people.
Yeah,
Unless you,
like-
well, there are less NPCs. There are less NPCs
there are
around.
less NPCs for sure.
Yeah.
But it wasn't by much. Like I don't know. I wish I felt like at least for a time
That
the immediate response that there was a lot more
that's why I said at the
devastation than
beginning,
just
you
having to talk.
You have to let
everyone.
yourself fall into the world, because I'm pretty sure we all know the limit was the tech. Like they just could.
Yeah.
One of the things that
Like,
really
yeah,
impressed me
even
was
having like some
Sid
of the
shit
shops
flying
closed
around.
would have been nice.
I wouldn't have liked. I would have been like, I want the shop open. I need to buy stuff. Like, you're not
Well,
that
fuck
dead.
you, they
You're
just
not
got
that dead.
Like, like
What
one
shop?
cool thing. One
Which-
cool thing was one cool thing is like being like, I don't know. They probably could have done this. It would have. I don't think they would have had the budget to make the game this long. But if they did it where it's like, if you didn't talk to these people or do certain things with these people before the Dreadnought incident, for you to be locked out of certain side quests. But this game doesn't really seem to have like side quests.
no, there are. From what I can tell, there's no side quests in this game
There are no side
whatsoever.
quests in this game. If there are, I've
Um,
never seen them.
Yeah, like the most you're gonna get's lore.
Yeah.
Um, and also, you can miss out on bestiary entries, by the way.
You can also miss out on treasure chests too.
Yes,
Uh,
because the Dreadnought, for as one example, you
Well,
cannot go back to.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll
obviously, since you kind of
we'll get to that.
up.
But
Why can't I just go to where it crashed and where the remains are and freaking
Well,
get the stuff?
the treasures. Well, we'll get to that. So we do another task for Hilda. We save Nelly. We get the Mithril. We bring it back to Altair. And if you use equipment, this is where you first get your level up. And this level up is going to last you for a while. But after the weaponsmith Tobal crafts Mithril equipment for the Resistance, the party is dispatched to Basks. The Empire has enslaved the residents and made them build a powerful airship known as the Dreadnought. It was built under the watchful eye of an Imperial known as the Dark Knight, but he was replaced by Borgen after the loss of the Mithril. This gives the Resistance the opportunity to destroy the Dreadnought before it's finished. Just before the party reaches the massive airship from the Basque sewers, the Dark Knight, who has not left Basque after all, takes control of the airship and lifts off. Now, I want to point out a plot hole that I experienced. I don't know if you guys did, but you remember, Jock, you said you got lost? I got lost in that same spot, so I went to Basque before I was supposed to, and the Dark Knight is there, and you can walk up to him as your character, and he's just like, I guess the idea is he's so busy he doesn't pay attention to him, pay attention to you, but he just like, get back to work, but he's looking at you, and I think
I did see that. Yeah, no, he was like, get back to work.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we can speak about it now. I don't know anything. I haven't looked up any spoilers or anything. The Dark Knight is Leon, right? Like, it has to be Leon.
I'm pretty sure it has to be. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
How does he
I
not
don't think the
recognize
game
you?
Does like a bunch of. I think he's supposed to be brainwashed.
He brainwashed everybody in that town, though. At that point, if you speak to any NPC, they all say the same thing.
Right, but I think Leon was supposed to be brainwashed beforehand.
Oh,
Like,
I
back
don't
when
know.
He went missing.
I don't know if he was
Like-
brainwashed or if he was a traitor or if, like, that's where his real father.
I don't know. My
I think
assumption
there was
is
one on
that he
that,
was
yeah.
brainwashed after the battle.
With how dark this game is, I could easily. I'm like, why would they brainwash a kid? You know, I'm like, he's got to have like some other.
It's fun knowing the plot and seeing you all
yeah,
do this.
I don't know it.
I will say that I wish the Emperor was more around.
Instead of just being
Like-
a looming the emperor.
And instead of like, oh, they occasionally mention him, but you don't see him for a while, and then when you do see him, it's just like a very quick, like, there he is, and you try to attack him, and then get thrown in jail or whatever, and then that's it. You don't see him again for a while.
Very D&D thing to do. I think like Star Wars had that thing too, but I think that's on purpose because you don't see the Emperor until the second movie, and he never interacts with any of the rebellion except for Luke.
Yeah, and it's like I get it in a way. It's just it always bugs me. And that might just be because nowadays, like, I'm more used to other RPGs where the villain plays a bigger role.
Just some tweaking then leaves. That's what my boy said.
Yeah. Basically.
I think that
but,
might be
like,
an anime thing, if I'm being honest. 'cause
Either that or it was just an old style thing. Because even like Final Fantasy 1, like you fight
There's a lot
Garland and then he just like
Immediately,
pieces
yeah.
out for the rest of the game, like, and then
There's
just shows
a
up
lot
at the end.
of,
Well, we weren't supposed to know that
series
he was
and
supposed
stuff
to be
that did this,
something
right?
more until the end of the game.
Like Scott, what was it? Like Scott, like I don't know if this like matches with what you're talking about, but like, what was it in One Piece? We didn't know who Emu was until recently.
The
So
fuck is Emu?
they brushed over. People think it's a her for some reason. I don't think the series said anything specific about her. But Emu was the one that blew up that island that Sabo was on.
Okay,
Wow,
but
I can't
even
believe
then-
we're spoiling One Piece.
I don't
in
know.
our-
I don't know
but
anything about that.
Even then, Jock, like,
But it's
what
gonna
I'm
suck
thinking
to
about is
anybody who
more
does.
like
I
the
want
fact
to.
of, oh, you know, you just don't see, like, with Kingdom Hearts with Ansem, it annoyed me that Ansem really didn't show up much, but at least he was, like, in some conversations, like, you could see him kind of doing something in the background, and, like, hear
He
him,
was a brown cloak for like 3
like,
scenes at least.
versus, but it's like with the Emperor, it's just, oh, the Emperor's doing this. Trust us. Like, the Emperor did this, the Emperor did that, and it's like, yeah, I get it. This Emperor's a dick.
Yeah, honestly,
But,
I kind of like the idea
How
of
it doesn't give you an idea of how strong the Emperor is either. He's just some dude that's doing this. Like, yeah, he has a
Mind you-
strong army, but like, how
mind
strong
you,
is the
I
Emperor
don't-
himself?
like
Just random king. Like,
Yeah, so as a mind you, I don't have like a lot of examples of this, but I do know of some series that did something similar with this, and I kind of like the series that have like the main villain as like a looming threat, like that
yeah, but he's
like,
not a
the
looming
minimum,
threat in
like
this.
well, I mean, like minimal about, right? The only thing that you know about him is the things that people said about him, but you know he's like really bad, which plays on your expectations and imagination, building the villain up to be more and more dangerous.
Yeah,
Again, I don't think this game does it super well, but I think that's probably what they're trying to.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah,
I get that it's
but
the first time Final Fantasy actually has I guess, a looming villain, so to speak.
Well,
Because
that's the
with
first
Final
time in that
Fantasy
way.
1, Garland was just like the main plot for 90% of the game was just go defeat each of the water fiend or the fiends at the 4 crystals and save the world. It wasn't until like the last little bit that Garland came back as the whole thing, and whereas this one they do want to build up a big bad, like there is an actual villain of the series that you are working towards beating. And I enjoy that. I just
Yeah.
it's tough nowadays going back to the stories so much.
Mhm.
Whereas the gameplay, I'm having a lot more fun even now going back to it. Like, I think that the gameplay was the better aged thing out of the gameplay and the story.
Yeah.
So about what Jacques was trying to bring up, a good example of it is actually Sephiroth. We never actually, if you remember in the original game, you never see you never actually see him as a character until Cloud starts talking about his backstory.
Well, with the whole Niflheim thing, we started seeing where he burned down the.
Yeah, but that's not
The
until
city
Cloud
and stuff.
brings. That's not until Cloud brings it up after you've already left Midgar, which is a good like 3 hours in the game.
Well, yeah, Midgar's just the prologue of the game, but
Like depending on some people, it could be longer than that, but that 3 hours. But anyway,
yeah. Either way, like, no, I think Sephiroth was done better, because at least Sephiroth also showed up to, like, you know, kill your girlfriend and
You know,
That's
Aerith
he-
was
you
not
know,
my
the
girlfriend.
time you
Hold
actually
on,
see
not on
his-
my stream. Not on my stream. Aerith was not my girlfriend. You show some more respect to Tifa and her feet. On my stream, on Omni's
Okay,
stream, you show more respect.
Well, I mean, it wasn't on
Okay,
mine
so-
either because I have to go for the
But yeah,
Barricade,
you. But before he kills Cloud's friend with benefits,
but,
Acceptable.
like at least to your point, they also established that he was an
He kills
amazing
the s-
ex-soldier.
I want.
yeah,
was-
he kills that snake that you had to fucking ride a chocobo to get over.
Yeah,
Fucking,
like,
he like murders everybody in the
does things.
Midgard Tower or whatever.
I want to.
Um,
I want to bring this back to Final Fantasy 2. So
Because with the, I was gonna say with the Emperor, like he just, as far as I can tell, is
Exists.
just a dude that has a very powerful army, but that doesn't make him powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't show us him doing anything. Like it's like it'd be different if they showed if they had scenes of him like talking to his like minions, and then like
Or
one of his
even,
minions
like,
bows off
you
and he
know,
like magics them dead.
Or that when you attack him, like because when you see him in the arena, if you attacked him, he, knocked you back and then sicked the monster on you. That
We're-
would have been more of like, oh, he was clearly more powerful than us.
we're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
But I want to
But
speak
that's
to
my
I want to
issue.
speak to a couple things. One, in terms of the story, arguably the Emperor doesn't really have a reason to address you because you're just some kids, and he doesn't even take the rebellion really as a threat at this point because he was planning on his dreadnought being the end all be all. So if he was willing to destroy everything from the air, there's no reason for him to walk to another person's face and like mock them or anything like that. But it speaks to a larger issue in this game, which is that it is, and I don't even know if I want to call it an issue because it's just an older game. It's all story, no plot. You do
Yeah.
this, and then you do that, and then you do this, and then you do
But
that, which
why?
is very simple. You just do it, right? You just move on.
Yeah.
They tell you, oh, we have a rebellion. We need supplies. Go get supplies. Before you can get the supplies, you have to do this. Before you can do that, you have to do that. Now that you've done that, you can get the supplies. Now you take the supplies.
Yep.
Like it's all just very sequential, right? But that's fine. It is what it is. It's not trying to be something too big. It's adding larger ideas and stuff like that. But it's all story, no plot. In regards to like other examples, there are ones where you have a more intimate relationship with the antagonist. This game doesn't do that. There is no main antagonist that you have any kind of personal association with, and anytime that you do start to get one, you kill them. Like they're as soon as you
Well,
because we had
arguably we have the whole like we pretty much have figured out the whole Leon thing.
well,
So you do have a relationship technically with that
The-
Dark Knight.
it's for the characters in game.
Um,
They don't know that yet. There's no confirmation of that, and the
Right,
only one
but
that really
I'm sure that when
has
we
a
get
hint.
to that reveal, like that's going to be some kind. I'm hoping that's handled well in the game as far as like some area of conflict.
Well, we'll have to wait and see at this point.
That's
But-
why I said I'm hoping. But
Yeah,
like,
but from what Borgin and the other people that we fight, and later on when we lose Torif, like we kill our bad guys. Like that's just the thing that we do. Furion and his team. But I want to speak to this is where I started power leveling, and it was kind of on accident, and I did it in a weird way, which is that I did the dreadnought and I blew it up, and I realized there was a treasure that I missed, so I saved before I went in there. And so I had to redo it again, and I found the treasure. And when I left, I was like, I feel like I spent more time in there that time. Let me test myself out. And I started fighting monsters around that area, which I'll bring up the map again on my stream. But at that point, you're around here, down here, which is arguably like up here. So from here, you walk up, and then you get to the dreadnought here. When it's blown up, you can't go back in there. So I started walking around, and these are some pretty tough enemies, at least they were for me at the time. And then I fought some purple toads, and they were like, I fought one, and it whooped my ass pretty good. And I was like, well, I think I can survive it. Let me try another one. And then I fought 3 toads, and I was like, I almost died, got game over, but I had one I think Leon survived, and I was like, okay, let's try something else. I can't fight these guys. I went back to Finn, and this is where you first saw those guards, and you brought them up earlier, Jock, when you tried to take them on at the beginning.
Uh-huh.
This is where I started fighting them, and 2 things happened. I realized they drop hella good equipment, which if you didn't get it from them, they have flame bows, they have mithril armor that they can drop, and they drop the toad and the curse spell. And then I started just like,
that's pretty cool.
and you only have to fight one at a time. So I was like, what if I started leveling my magic? So then I got gold armor, flamebow, and toad. Yeah, thank you, my boy. I started power leveling like fight after. All I had to do was press XX and then just let it auto battle while I was watching YouTube, and XX and then just let it auto battle. I got all of my spells, which I put like 10 spells on each person. They all know fire, thunder, and blizzard. They all know cure. I got all of my spells up to level 8, which is like halfway to max. And you get curse, toad, and teleport are outrageous. Literally at level 2 you can start hitting toad on those guys. What happens is they turn into a Brog and then they leave battle. It's over. You get all the rewards you normally would, but it's just over in one turn.
I wouldn't make it. Just a quick kind of side note, I found out about this. The original patch of the Pixel Remaster, when it released, made all status effects 100% accuracy and 100% chance.
It didn't
so
feel
they
like
would
that.
always they would always hit 100% of the time, both for you and the opponent, which could lead to you getting 100% stun locked at all times.
Oh yeah.
And make certain battles completely unwinnable. And vice versa. Like if you got stunned immediately on the opponent, you would also just insta win. They did balance the game out very quickly after that, but that was just a fun little thing I found out about the first patch.
Lax said he didn't know any of this. He was playing the game completely wrong. So I just stay there. And so if you look at my game time on Steam for this game, I have 22 hours in this game. Only 11 of them were plot. I spent literally half my time power leveling.
Jesus.
So what I did was I power leveled just about all my spells. Shell is crazy. Hey, they call it something else in this game, but like the thing where like you become harder to hit. Protect, Berserk, Blink, Curse. I got all of that. Like Teleport's another fun one because you just cast Teleport on all the enemies and you just teleport the whole group.
Here's another thing I guess I should probably ask. With power leveling, how did you all power level? I'm the only one that beat the shit out of myself in order to get power levels?
I did not do that.
Because if you attack yourself, you gain HP at the end of battles, and you also gain weapon proficiency.
I did not know that.
I didn't do that.
Yes.
All my MP except for one of my character is level 999 or like 999 because of what I was doing there.
I knew that, but that's because I played the original where that's the only way you got more HP.
I didn't know that at all.
Well, no, the way you gain HP is you lose HP. So if you beat the shit out of yourself, you will gain HP. Because you're losing HP, and then it's also how I was leveling up Cure. Was you beat the shit out of yourself and Cure, beat the shit out of yourself and Cure.
Jesus.
So yeah, and if your weapon level is like, let's say 10, if you beat the shit out of yourself and attack yourself 11 times, it will automatically go up.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up.
You always do one more than your level. But yeah, I did find out that, like, yes, you can just beat the shit out of yourself.
I'll have to do that to raise my HP, but like I have so many stats that are
that is why my HP is 99999.
I thought you did what I did, and I'm like I have like 4,000 HP, and I was like, dude, this guy must have been playing forever. I didn't know you were just.
Oh, and my playtime is only 8.5 hours.
Yeah, no, I power leveled a lot. You can do that with the town and use teleport to reduce your health to red, then cast cure. Ooh, my boy, I was about to bring that up. So there's two ways. If you teleport, you use health to do it. You cast cure, you power level cure on all your characters. The other thing that I was doing when I was in that castle, that knight would beat the shit out of me. He really would, and then I would have Maria like power cure everybody, and then we just do it all again. And then all of the bows and stuff that I got, I would just sell it, get all my money back, buy cottages, and then I have like so much money.
One other thing about teleport and stuff like that. God, what was I was gonna say something. Like I had it in mind. Quick note, if you're playing on PlayStation, if you get Cure up to level 16, which is the max level, you won't get the trophy if you do it outside of battle. It doesn't pop the trophy. You have to level it up in battle in order to get the trophy.
Interesting.
Because I accidentally did it outside of battle because I was just curing after battles, and it leveled up to 16, and it didn't pop the trophy. So I had to reload a save and then get it to like almost leveled up, and then do it in battle, and then at the end of battle it gave me the trophy. So just as a quick side note for anyone, like if you didn't get it in, like that is probably why, if you leveled up your spell outside of battle.
So
The spell has to reach level 16 in battle in order to get it.
so that was the first part that I power leveled, and there's a second part that's coming up. But the 11 hours weren't spent there. Like I spent like maybe 5 hours doing that, and then I'll explain later. Does anybody have anything? Because that was my experience with Dreadnought. Does anybody have anything to say about Dreadnought before we move on?
No, I found it decently straightforward, if not a little annoying.
Okay. This is where we're gonna get to sort of the aftermath of the Dreadnought Rising, and also Joseph. So, the Dreadnought attacks the cities of Poft, Palum, Galtrea, and Altair, which are the cities that we've been to. They mean the most to us. But the secret base is Altair is unharmed. Minwu, who was our fourth member for all this time, leaves to care for the ailing King of Finn. After talking to Sid, owner of the world's other airship, Hilda and the party decide to obtain Sunfire from Kashwan Keep. To enter, they need either the goddess's bell or the voice of Kashwan. Joseph helps the party reach the snow cave with a fucking snowmobile. I added the fucking.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get a snowmobile, which I wasn't expecting. And the party retrieves the bell located within. On the way out, Borgin attacks the party, and although he is defeated, he sends a boulder after them. Joseph holds the boulder to allow the party to escape and is crushed. I liked Joseph. He seemed jolly. I did not want him to die. I liked him.
Yeah, nah, I was kind
Yeah.
of sad.
Like, that was just one of those things that it was like, I don't know, I kind of expected it with fourth party members just because I'm like, oh, like, after they started rotating out, I'm like, you're either going to die or you're going to leave for some reason. So what's going to be the reason you leave? And then it was just, oh, Boulder, got it. Like,
Yeah, it was just that because he had a daughter, and it had like that girl that was really into him outside. I wish there was a girl outside my house that was like, he'll never like me, and then I'll be like, no, bitch, I won't. Take care of my kids.
and then you get hit by a boulder.
I get hit by a
Like-
boulder.
No, bitch, I won't.
That's what
take care
happens.
of
It's
my
called
kids.
setting a flag.
Yeah. Oh, is this the first example of flags in Final Fantasy? I do want to point out, in
Probably.
comparing 1 to 2, this game took so many leaps. 1, as you play it, they were obviously influenced by Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. When it came to this one, they were like, we're going to try to make this our own thing as much as possible. Like, so much changed. I really enjoyed it.
I will say that I'm very
You know,
sure
I want to say
that it was
something
very
too.
confusing to go to this fighting style with no levels and stuff,
Mhm.
and the fact that you actually had MP. This is the first Final Fantasy game with MP.
Another first.
I should make that clear, because you had spell charges like D&D in Final Fantasy 1. This was the first one with MP.
Yep.
So I feel like that's kind of like, I wonder how confusing it was for people going to it.
I think that
Mostly
was-
because of the level system, like the fact that you gain proficiency and not levels.
Yeah, the
And
levels
it's
probably
more your
blew
equipment
people
and
away.
your proficiency, like, that really made the difference in battles. And I can understand why a lot of people probably had a lot of issues with that back in the day, is because, again, that was a huge difference. But it is, I think, decently well executed. The HP issue is about probably the only one, and they fixed that with the Pixel Remaster. So if you're playing the Pixel Remaster, like, I very much recommend going into the boost setting and having it where you will automatically get some amount of HP after a fixed number of battles, just in case, because otherwise it can be a little random to actually get HP.
This is also one of those games where, like, back in the day, you would have went up to your friends and be like, I just can't figure out how to do that. Oh, you got to beat yourself up. What? And then, like, you would have told me that on the playground, and I would have gone home and done it, and then I would have told you about teleport, and then you would have done that, and we would have just been...
Oh yeah, like,
it would be one of those, like,
this
shared...
was definitely a playground game, and you know what? I think it's good for that. Like, truthfully, I think I enjoy Final Fantasy 2 a lot more than I have been enjoying Final Fantasy 1, because I've been playing that on the Pixel Remaster as well.
Mhm.
And I think I much rather, like, would play 2 over 1 any day.
Yeah, I agree. At least so far. I don't know about the second half.
Yeah, so far I am having a lot more fun playing 2 over 1. I think both of them still
Oh,
suffer
so I
from
wanna
the
say
fact of,
something,
like,
too.
having to talk to everyone to figure out where the fuck you're going, but that's just old JRPG.
I
Like,
want to say something too. Honestly, it's interesting that the Final Fantasy 2 reminds me more of some, like, well, it's relatively more recent Tales of games than they do Final Fantasy games of the same era, right? Like what was it? Playing this game reminded me a lot of playing games like Tales of Symphonia than it did of me playing like when I played games like Final Fantasy X.
Because everybody's dying. Is that why?
I mean,
No,
Well,
it's just
one
it's just the way you
I
progress
know.
through the game.
yeah. I mean, well, a later game like Tales of probably does take inspirations from previous games, and
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 2
No,
might
it's-
just be a source of inspiration for them.
for sure.
Like-
For sure. 'Cause, like, if you play like Tales of Fantasia, which was like the first one, which is very painfully almost exactly like
I
this game,
hate
except for
Tales of Fantasia.
but
Like, So bad.
because you get no direction in Tales of Fantasia.
You get more
but-
direction in this game than you do Tales
You
of
do.
Fantasia.
You absolutely do. But like the thing about like that is like it feels like Tales of Symphonia took a lot. No, Tales of series took a lot longer to diverge or go away from the style of story progression or game progression than like than Final Fantasy did.
Well, I mean, you gotta realize one thing about Final Fantasy. Every game has something unique to it. Like,
They
they
are-
innovate with every single Final Fantasy.
Yeah, they are not
Which is, I
afraid
think,
to
what
take
makes it-
risks.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Final Fantasy unique as a franchise, is that literally every one of these games is different.
Yep.
Going from Final Fantasy 1 to Final Fantasy 2 is a very different thing. Same with going from 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. Like, there's some basic concepts that are the same, but they do things in radically different ways, which is why even when I wasn't big on 13 and 15 when they first came out, I realized, like, that's Final Fantasy. They're going to innovate in every different game. Sometimes I enjoy the innovations, sometimes I don't. But that's
Mhm.
how this franchise works. So it's very interesting that, yeah, like, it goes all the way back to this one. So, yes, it makes sense that Final Fantasy is going to be the one that will immediately break their own mold, essentially.
Yeah, which is it's
Versus
interesting.
a lot
There
of other
was one thing-
JRPGs where
There,
it's the
there was
same,
one thing that people
like,
said about
every time.
that was one thing people said about Tales of series 2 is that Tales of series or Tales of games are consistent. Like it's going to be very familiar to what you played before
Yeah,
if you played other Tales of games.
Star Ocean is very much the same way too.
Yeah, for better
Yeah,
or
it's-
worse.
But those games rely on more storytelling than the game.
Right, but it's more of, if you enjoyed this Star Ocean or this Tales of, you'll probably enjoy this one unless you can't get into the plot. But gameplay wise, it's going to be very similar. Whereas Final Fantasy, gameplay wise, these can be radically different. Like there is, even going back to the NES and SNES eras, like these games can be radically different.
I mean, they have two.
Just
Final
look at
Fantasy has two
FF1 and 2,
MMOs,
like-
and they're both very different. But
Mhm.
I do want to move on to the next part of the plot. If we're done talking about
Yeah.
Joseph, rest in peace, rest in power. With heavy hearts but renewed determination to avenge Joseph, the party heads for the abandoned kingdom of Kashuan to retrieve the Sunfire. They enter the keep and find Gordon, who came out on his own but was unable to make it past the monsters inside. He joins the party and helps them locate Eagle's torch, the only vessel that can be used to carry the Sunfire. The party defeats a red soul for the torch and retrieve the Sunfire. As they leave, they witness Sid's airship being captured by the Dreadnought, which parks to replenish its fuel supplies in the far south. The party heads there, frees Sid and Hilda, who is on board Sid's airship, and throws the Sunfire into the Dreadnought's engine as directed by Sid. They meet the Dark Knight in the engine room, and Maria recognizes his voice, but they have no time and escape just before the airship is destroyed. Now, we touched on this a little bit, but I want to talk about two things. I want to talk about Gordon as a character, and I want to talk about Sid.
I like Gordon.
I like Gordon as well, except I feel like he's trying to cuck his brother. Is him and Hilda
Well,
a
okay.
thing?
First off, first off, sir, his brother's dead.
I'm just saying.
Like, his brother's dead and never confessed.
Are we?
So you know what?
Fuck, dude, you're a Gordon
Like-
stan. I respect that.
Like,
I
Gordon
mean,
is
no,
just
he gotta-
moving in on
he's
free
gotta-
property.
That is very
That's
very
no,
very not
no.
okay.
No, you don't say it like that.
That's
No.
princess property to you, young man.
And it is very clear after
Yeah,
the
but no, like
current part, like, that
Listen,
we're, like, in the
freaking-
current part we're in, like, it seems like
nah,
him and
dude,
Hilda are a thing.
he's listen, bro. He's like living was it? He's living his brother's dream, all right. He's just like carrying it on, bro.
He's
Yeah,
living.
he's
Period.
carrying on his torch for Hilda.
Yeah, and
Yeah, exactly, bro.
I think it's a little fucked, but like I can't argue that
Not as fucked as Scott's last comment.
he's,
Jesus.
he's dead and gone. Where's
I mean,
your
Dude's
buddy?
dead.
At?
How you gonna cuck a dead dude?
I just saying,
I mean,
like that's
He's not wrong. It's
You're-
just don't say it like that.
we've all seen like the anime and the movies and stuff where like the dude time travels or even what is it like I was gonna say Castaway, but I don't think that was his brother. But like your friend or your family member comes in and they marry your old spouse and is like, oh fuck, this is very conflicting. Because like they're not wrong for moving on, but I mean like that was your brother's girl. Like fuck, dude. But
Yeah,
I mean,
but he wasn't though. Like
Oh, yeah.
she never was because he never confessed. So
Yeah.
therefore, like she never was his girl.
you were trifling.
She was
Scott.
just that
You were
girl
trifling.
that the guy had like a stalker relationship with.
I think they were into
like-
each other a little bit.
God
But-
damn.
but-
I don't know.
You know what?
Like,
So was
We,
you know
all
what?
we
So
know
was-
is that he loved her. Like she-
Okay,
he
I
had,
will say
like
this.
pictures
I will
of her
say
like
this. I
all
will say
around
this.
in the walls. Like we don't know.
You know what? So was
there's
fucking
something you all
Waka's
forgot,
brother
though.
in Lulu, and
There's-
Waka slipped in and made that bitch pregnant.
Oh, is that a,
damn
that
right.
is a, that
As
is
he
that
should.
a,
Actually, it's something that we're all forgetting though.
Uh-huh.
He actually like when he died, they did actually say that he proposed to her.
he like gave her the
he
ring.
had already opposed to her.
No,
Proposed
he
to her.
gave the ring and said, "Don't tell her my feelings for her because she
No,
doesn't."
no, 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 no. Like, when
Oh.
you
She
talk to the
doesn't
king,
need
when you
to
talk,
know
when-
the
when you
feelings
talk
of
to
a
the
dead
king.
man.
No, no. When you talk to the king was like the king says, yeah, he proposed to her. It's sad to see him go.
Fuck, I believe
Because
that.
he did propose to her. The whole I think really the
I don't
answer to the
think
whole
so.
thing was the whole thing was you got to realize they're royalty. So because you propose to somebody doesn't necessarily mean you love them. So the fact that he proposed to her and he also actually loved her, I think that was like the deal that they were trying to do.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
think so.
I'm willing to believe that. I did talk to other NPCs, but I missed. I talked to every NPC. I don't remember everything they all said.
Yeah, but the king did say that he proposed.
Did he have a cuck as a keyword? Because I think that's what I was going to ask Gordon about.
Damn,
But,
Yeah, you were
Bobby.
gonna learn.
Oh
And it
my
was like,
god!
yeah,
man, Gordon's
but
nice.
no, like I mean,
it's kinda
currently
uncool,
Gordon
though.
is like basically the king, and Hilda's the queen.
well,
so
he's the general of the army for now.
I mean,
So-
like they're both. I'm like looking at them both sitting on the throne next to each other.
until she puts a ring, she's queen. She needs to put a ring on his finger before he can become king. So he's general for now. He's general.
Oh,
Gold.
I'm sorry. He's just sitting in the king's throne,
Yeah.
like you know.
He's trying. He wants. I mean, remember what little bitch he was at the beginning? Fuck, man. He
Yeah, but he's come a long way.
He has come a long way.
Like he's now here dating
his
the
brother's
girl.
girl.
That his brother had a crush on. Like
But Gordon, but
His
I
brother's-
traveling with me, I power leveled him in that in the Cashron dungeon as well.
I don't know. After Minwoo left the party, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm not gonna
didn't-
bother
I didn't
leveling
waste
these
any of my time
characters
on
up.
these guys,
Like
yeah.
I figure until I get the fourth named character with Leon, like I'm not gonna bother.
I just did it on accident. It wasn't on purpose.
Yeah.
It was he was just along for the ride mostly. And then I also wanted to talk about Sid. I thought it was a script. When I first went to Finn, I saw an airship swoop around, and I was like, "Oh, did something happen there? Like, are they trying to show me something?" I thought it was a scripted event. I didn't know that back in 1988 they programmed an airship to just be hovering around the world. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that.
The airship, the work on the airship, I think looks really cool still. Like even to this day, I think it looks really neat to watch the airship fly around.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's funny too? Like I was playing, while I was playing a game in a car with my girlfriend, like with Kate. She looks
She was
Well,
saying, "Please stop playing that while driving."
no, so she was the one driving at that point. But what was it? But like we park to get out of the car, and she sees like me flying an airship, and she's like, "A angry flower pot? What?"
I thought you were gonna be like you're gonna turn to her, you're gonna pull over in a rage with tears coming down your teeth, and like I will never forget about Joseph, and you just keep playing.
With Joseph.
Do we have any lasting thoughts on the airship or the dreadnought? Because we're at this point
I don't
we're
know,
done with the dreadnought.
Honestly, the airship,
the
like I
music.
said, I still think looks very impressive considering this was an NES game. Like
Yeah.
this wasn't like with Final Fantasy IV and stuff where it was a Super Nintendo like Mode 7 activate. Like this was an NES or original Famicom game. Like it looks really good for that.
I
Yeah.
really like the Dreadnought music.
Oh, I think I have. Do I have
There's
the
a lot of actually pretty good music in this game. I actually like the soundtrack a lot. Not as much as later Final Fantasies, but as far as the 2 NES, or I guess 3 NES ones, so far this is my favorite.
Hey,
Dreadnought was my favorite too.
Julian, I'm gonna give you a little bit of PTSD. I think the Dreadnought theme is called Pandemonium on.
Yes, yes, it is. Yes,
God, that
yes,
dungeon
it is.
sucks.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
Okay, so then in terms of plot, all right, the party returns triumphantly to Altair, only to learn the king is about to die. With his last
no.
breath, he plans a 3-pronged attack on the Empire to take back Finn. In his plan, Minwu heads to Mysidia to retrieve Ultima, the ultimate magic tome. Gordon takes command of the rebel army to attack Finn directly, and Furion's party heads to the island nation of Dice to enlist the aid of the Dragoons. Hilda has started behaving strangely and retires to her chambers. The party accepts passage from Layla, who reveals that she is a pirate captain and tries to mug the party. When they defeat her and the crew, she's impressed and joins them. They reach Dice but find the Dragoons fallen in battle and only a single wyvern remaining. The beast is dying, poisoned by the Empire. It gives the party the last wyvern egg, which the party drops in the healing spring at the bottom of Dice Cavern to incubate it and hasten its growth process. There's a lot there in this part, like a lot of firsts, and I do want to tackle them one by one, starting with Ultima. Was this the first time Ultima was in Final Fantasy, or was Ultima in the first game?
I'm pretty confident this is the first Ultima.
So we got the first
Which is
mention
why
of
it was
Ultima.
considered the ultimate.
Yes, this is the first time Ultima is ever brought up in Final Fantasy.
What, the ultimate weapon?
No,
It was
Ultima,
Ultima
as a spell.
The spell.
Oh, okay.
So these spells and some of these things would have ripples throughout all kinds of Square Enix properties, but Ultima was the first time that we got, or Final Fantasy II was the first time we got to see Ultima as a spell here.
Yes.
Um,
Which is why it was treated as like this big thing originally, was because it was the first time we ever.
and then also in
Yeah.
first was, I believe this was the first mention of the Dragoons, and man, the Dragoons have a history of going through it. God damn. It wasn't listed in this synopsis, but the way that the Empire killed the Dragoons was that they poisoned the water well of the wyverns, and then when the Dragoons didn't have mounts, they just came and like mobbed the actual soldiers, and like I was like, that's pretty fucked, man. Like that
Damn.
is awful. That's war crimes. That's fucked, dude. The Dragoons were murked in the most unceremonious way. Did you guys have any thoughts about the Dragoons or anything like that?
I was kind of sad that we don't really get a Dragoon with us, because you know they're kind of all dead. Like, and then like the last wyverns just kind of like, here, you all seem kind of vaguely trustworthy. Here, have an egg. Blah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you have to find a
I
pendant to
think
talk to
I
the
think you finally got past where I'm at.
Yeah, we
okay,
did.
so yeah, this is
this is where you would like you're not far from it.
I didn't think I was.
It's like literally you go back, you do the pirate ship thing, which takes all of like 5 minutes, and then you go straight to this location where this all happened. The dungeon dropping the Dragoon egg off is annoying. I hated it. But
I was so power leveled at this point. I was just breezing through the
Well, see-
dungeon.
like here's the thing. That one had a lot of, if I remember correctly, the stupid slime enemies,
Oh, I have something for you on that.
which you know, I've mentioned before. I punch things, and punching doesn't really work too well.
Hold
on
on,
them.
I need to moan real quick because Lag said, "Take my prime and put it all over you, you magnificent Final Fantasy fan." Yeah, I'm rubbing it into my bosom. Thank you for the prime, Lag. Yeah, yes. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. Please continue.
But yeah, no, that dungeon I couldn't just hit auto battle because slimes are pretty much resistant to the physical.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I had magic at that
whereas
point.
you all used magic, and I was like, what the fuck is magic? I have cure. Like, I also have life. I mean, you know.
Life is good.
I have a bad habit of brute force.
I have what? Cure, life. Oh, by the way, how many people found the fun of Esuna and Basuna?
Oh, do you want to know how to level those
I
up?
have Asuna, but I don't have
Yeah.
Basuna.
So, Jock, do you know the difference between Basuna and
No.
Esuna?
No.
Esuna can only heal status ailments outside of battle, and Basuna can only heal status ailments in battle.
Yeah.
What?
Like, you know how
Yes.
sometimes you'll have a status ailment that'll disappear as soon as you finish the battle?
Yeah.
Basuna can get rid of it in battle.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like the green little bubbles for poison, whereas Esuna is for the purple little bubbles of poison that can carry over outside of battle.
Because there's a goddamn difference.
Yeah.
I could have
yeah.
I used Asuna
I
in
think-
battle once though.
Basuna is
and
the
it
only
worked.
one in battle.
Asuna,
Asuna,
maybe
cannot
it
use
missed.
Asuna.
Maybe it missed. Okay.
I
Like that is.
hated.
I think
I
this
hate
is the only game with Basuna and Esuna.
Thank God.
Yes,
After
because this is the
everything
only
just
game-
became Asuna.
Because this is the only game that where the fucking status ailment are different.
Yeah.
There
Well,
was.
I think this is the only one where they just naturally heal after battle.
Yeah.
for a lot of-
No. Some of them don't. Well, actually,
not
some of them
Most
don't.
Final Fantasies just solve the problem by being like, well, they just don't heal after battle. Have
Yeah,
a nice day.
just-
Like,
Yeah,
Asuna
after
heals
battle, it's
everything.
like, are you silenced? Well, good luck, bitch. You're still silenced.
I will say that if you get to Basuna to level 5, it pretty much heals anything you care about.
Yeah. Oh, I got him both to level 8. So.
Yeah.
All you have to do is cast in battle. Even if it misses, it gives you XP. I want to say one last
Okay,
thing
I wasn't
about.
sure if it did or not.
Yeah,
so.
that's how I did it against those knights. It just kept
Okay.
missing and missing. For the dragoons, one more thing. I'm curious, and I could probably find this out later, but I'm wonder because you don't ever see dragoons. You just hear of them. They're legendary. They're mythical, but they had to be taken down with this cheap, backhanded way because the Empire is evil. I wonder if there was concept art of what the dragoons would one day be, where they were like dragon armor with like big things coming out of their helmet and they're carrying these giant lances. Like, I wonder if they had that idea at this point or if that got elaborated and developed in future Final Fantasy games. So I'm curious to see how that evolves later on. But yeah, sure.
So if my memory serves me correctly, because I could look this up, I could look it up and check, but I believe that the dragoons were in Final Fantasy 3. It's just that they're just high, there's lance people who can jump really high, and fucking people with lances who can jump really high, and then it develops into people who, it's like, because it's like they used it to defeat dragons, and then it evolves into people who are like, and then it evolves into this like whole thing with dragon's blood and all this edgy garbage.
I don't know, because I know
But
4 was just that they were really good at taking down dragons.
Yeah, it's
that
like
was
later
it.
in later
That
Final
was
Fantasy
literally like
classes. Yeah, it's like
which also
some
was
Final
against Final Fantasy 2 because Final Fantasy 2 they worked with wyverns. That was the whole thing.
Yeah,
They were kind of like wyvern knights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus Final Fantasy 4, it was like no, they killed them. Like
yeah, and it's like after Final Fantasy 4, it's essentially they just they're knights who kill dragons. They're essentially knights who kill dragons and can jump, who have learned to jump above the height of where dragons can fly.
Be right back.
And only until fucking
Oh.
I think
it. I'll get to this later.
Okay. So we're getting pretty close to where the end of this game club is gonna come to. So I'm just gonna read this next part. Unless do anything last on Ultima, Dragoons, the dungeon.
Hey, I guess I can put this here because we were talking about some of the stuff that Final Fantasy 2 introduced. It introduced Chocobos, Dragoons, female main characters,
Oh.
the Proto-Moogle, the Beavers. I don't know.
Oh, well, the beavers. Yeah, I saw they were in that dungeon. I don't know about the
actual
Moogle.
Moogles appear starting in 3, and then airships, Ultima Magic.
No, airship was in the first one.
Or-
You got it at the end.
Okay, yeah. So Ultima Magic and Sid apparently.
Yeah,
I don't
Sid
think
Sid
Sid-
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, Sid is in. Oh, that was
Yeah.
another thing. That's what I was gonna bring up. Sid is in this game. Like he's a fucking annoying douchebag in Final Fantasy VIII, But he's great in this. I just love shitting on 8. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Scott. Just like shitting on.
I mean, Sid in this, he doesn't have a ton of personality, but he's there.
He's just kind of
there.
like, he's very much jaded, and he's just like, I'm just here for business, nothing else.
And so far too, like, I mean, I'm hoping we get our own airship later. So far, it's like you just pay Sid and go wherever you want to go.
He charges so much money for it as well. Like,
Yeah.
it was like 5,000 gold to go
But
back
you
to the
can
Stardew
just
City.
go. That is true. You can also just go to a bunch of towns though.
Yeah,
Like if you got the money, like you can just have an airship there. Good luck getting back.
yeah.
like
That was another cool
it doesn't
thing.
do return trips.
The game
like,
remembers
it's-
where your stuff is. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. The party. So this is after we drop off the egg to incubate it. So we're rebirthing the. Hey, came back from cooking to hear Final Fantasy VIII slander. Hey, Kev. Hey, how's it going? I will shit
Yeah.
on Final
Oh, yeah.
Fantasy VIII all day,
Oh.
every day.
Final Fantasy
Oh,
8
yeah,
is great.
my boyfriend
It's
likes
but-
Final Fantasy.
So
Likes Final Fantasy.
good.
Hell yeah, Kev.
Another 8 fan.
Like-
Gross.
Me and Kev will just take you on that.
Why don't you
8
go
is
have a
great.
fucking concert on a giant clam together? Fucking 8. Anyway.
You know what? Maybe we will.
Maybe we will.
We'll play
And
some
then
Eyes
we'll-
on Me.
Then we'll go to space and I'm just gonna. Anyway, the party returns to Altair empty-handed, and Furion learns that the Hilda they rescued from Dreadnought is a Lamia queen in disguise. I killed her in 3 hits because I was so overpowered.
Remember when I was talking about the patch? That was one of the unwinnable battles. If she immediately stuns you,
Oh,
she'll just keep stunning you with every attack she
Believe
does.
me, it was an unwinnable battle.
Wait. The princess we saved for the Dreadnought wasn't actually the princess?
it was it's a trick. It's
Yeah.
it's the Lamia
Oh,
queen. So
yeah,
you're
that's
gonna
something I
fight her
would've- I would
later.
have learned.
The real Hilda is being held, and I love this. This is something I really wanted to bring up as a nerd with trivia, but the real Hilda is being held as a prize in the tournament at the Palamecian Coliseum. The party, with Gordon in tow, make haste and reach Hilda, defeating a behemoth at the Coliseum to earn her as a prize. The Emperor
Was that the first
overseeing...
behemoth?
Yeah, the Emperor overseeing the match dispatches the party and has them thrown in the dungeons. They are saved by Paul, who I mentioned earlier was the thief we rescued along with Joseph, who unlocks their cell. Hilda and Gordon escape on their own while the rest of the party draws the guards' attention. The rebel army plans an attack on Finn and encamps outside the town. Furion, Maria, Guy, and Layla, the pirate that we earned her respect, lead the attack and defeat the Imperia Castellan, earning the rebels an important victory. And that's where we all stopped. So there's more.
Yep.
There's not a whole lot more according to this wiki. I just can see a couple paragraphs, but that's where we stopped. The behemoth, I wanted to bring this up as a nerd. If you look in the Pixel Remaster, there's concept art, and you can find concept art for the behemoth in Final Fantasy 1. They had designed it and fleshed it and prepped it, but they couldn't fit it in. They couldn't program it, and so they held onto it until Final Fantasy 2. But the behemoth was ready to go since 1, but it made its introduction in 2.
Yes.
I love the behemoth. It looks really cool in the remake as well. In the Pixel Remaster, sorry.
Yeah, I thought it looked really cool. Like, a lot of the sprite work in the Pixel Remaster is very well done to kind of update it without, like, fully changing it. Like, it looks very impressive even on the old original Famicom, but it does look really nice in the Pixel Remaster.
Also, this is the second part that I wanted to bring up where I power leveled, because I realized, I mean, again, I didn't really use a guide or anything, but I figured, hey, this is where we're going. This has to be where that achievement is, Rebel Victory, because we're gonna take back the castle. I had spent time earlier power leveling with those knights, so I was like, if we take back the castle, those knights are gonna be gone. So I continued power leveling with them, and I was like, you know what? I've been through a lot. Let me go walk around the world a little bit, and I'm gonna bring up the map again. See if I can.
Fuck.
Here we go. Oh, what?
Oh, shit.
You dead?
No, I just thought about something.
Oh, okay.
Are those unique? Are they only available to fight there?
I'm the cap.
battles.
I'm
or
sure.
did I just miss
I'm sure
them out on the bestiary?
I'm sure we'll find more captains later on, but that was a guaranteed place. All you
Okay.
have to do was keep mashing X or A
I think-
to do that.
I think I ran into them.
But here's what I did. So you're taking back
Yeah,
Castle
look into that.
Finn. I was like, okay, I'm pretty strong. I can take on these captains pretty easily. Let me stop leveling magic and go level up my physical ability. So then I wandered up here, and which brought me back down here. And then I started fighting those purple toads again. I went to the desert and fought a bunch of chimeras and a bunch of giant spiders. And then I just started wandering. And if you notice at this desert area, you can go to the right-hand side or the east side, and there is a little patch of land. And I just started walking across it. And I started walking and walking, and I started fighting new enemies that were stronger, and then I just kept walking, and I wound up over here on the west side, and I just kept fighting enemies. This is where my power leveling took a turn. I crossed.
West Side.
West Side. I went across the
I rolled
river.
my eyes.
There's a town here, which I won't spoil anything about it, but I got some new equipment, and that set me up for my next part, which is that I just wandered around this forest right here, and I fought slimes. But I used only physical attacks, and when you do physical attacks, the only time you can hit them is with crits. And my evasion and shit was so high from being beat up by the captains earlier that these things could not hurt me. So I just wandered around fighting packs of slime until I got all my weapons and shields to 15, because I think that's about where they stop leveling you here.
Yeah. No, they'll still get to 16.
Okay.
It's just it
yeah.
takes longer.
So that's all that I did for like 4 hours, was just fight slimes with my fists and my hands and my clubs and my spears, and I just power leveled here. And then when I got as much as I could, once I was like, okay, I should probably continue because I gotta be ready for the game club. I left, I hoofed it back up here, I went back here, and I took the castle, and I killed the boss in like 2 hits. It was outrageous. I was like,
This
I'm way
game
overpowered.
very much lets you. Like, I feel like the proper way to play this game is to be overpowered. Because all of us got there in different ways, but all of us ended up being overpowered.
Yeah, I really like it. And for somebody for me that's like me, where I like to see the bar go up and I like to see everything sort of even, and I really enjoy that. It's like dopamine for me. I love it.
And I just found that kind of funny that like all of us in our own way ended up just being like, oh yeah, no, the bosses are a joke. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, by the way, you know what's interesting? Being like a person that does mostly damage through magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like when I got to that one boss that was like guarding like the bell, like the fire boss who was healed by all magic.
Oh yeah, that sucked, dude.
Yeah, I was like, I literally just like, okay, you know what? Battle of attrition. We just kept smacking each other, and I just had heals and more health. I just had like more health than him and like a lot of heals. I would just heal us every single time he got us down.
Lags in chat, he said, I was not overpowered and I had a hell of a time trying to keep up with the enemies. I'm gonna power level going forward. And the thing is, for power, at least for me, I can't speak for the gentlemen that are here, but I wasn't power leveling for the sake of power. Like, I wasn't like, okay, I need to be strong just because I like being strong. I just like the battle system. I like seeing my bars go up, and I like seeing my stats go up, and I just kept doing it. And also, the Pixel Remaster makes it easy, so I watch like Resident Evil speedruns, and I watch like Street Fighter tournaments just on YouTube, and then like I would just pay attention to the game, and just blip blip blip, and I start the next battle.
Yeah, you can even turn it on to where it continues the auto battle for each battle, so you don't even have to keep pressing square.
I did it because I got shit to do.
I say that because, you know, and this is how it was for me one-handed. Because, like I said, most of my power leveling was done at
Omni plays most of his games.
Was at the Castle Finn. Those enemies never disappeared, so I never had to use my left hand to wander around for random. I just had to stand in front of one knight and press A until when the battle started, and then when it ended, I restarted and blah blah blah, and the auto just kept going. That was it. I didn't even have to use my left hand at all. I just sit here and do whatever I want. Touch myself, just really hang out and really give it to me.
I mean, he was looking at that sprite work.
Yeah, I was just drooling over the behemoth.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'm supposed to.
But yeah, I do recommend power leveling. I power level because that's how I play RPGs. Is I just love finding out how overpowered I can become, how early I can.
But you also like
just
to play
blowing
them
through
wrong
it. Well, I mean, I swear I thought I was playing it wrong because I just have like no equipment for 3 out of 4 party members, and nothing hits them. Like, their evasion's just so high that I can't get hit.
Because it's the only game you can get away with such a thing.
Yeah. Also, for anyone that has 2 weapons equipped, like for example Furion, your second weapon's doing nothing, by the way.
Oh, 20 hours, not 22. I'm gonna bring up my game so I can show my stats real quick.
It only calculates the first weapon's damage. The second weapon is just increasing the... Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't do anything. It's doing certain things, but not fully. It's not calculating towards damage. It's calculating towards a few of the hits, and it's calculating towards your stats, but not the actual damage calculation numbers.
Real quick,
only the first, your
Final
right
Fantasy...
hand, because it's the favored hand.
I might need,
Yeah,
I
because
might need
Final
to...
Fantasy 3 is the one where it equates both for damage.
Correct.
Lag said,
in this one, it only equates your favored hand.
While I was only playing with one hand, Lag said I was looking at pixel art of Tifa's feet, which is the right thing to do. Yeah.
The other thing is too, like certain ones have status effects that they apply that the game just doesn't tell you about.
I cannot
fully,
miss.
So.
Yeah, these are my stats.
I think that's one thing. Like the Ancient Sword does curse stats, which by the way, the Ancient Sword is very powerful for Furion. Because if you get curse, it reduces the enemy's stats by 80%.
I've been using having him use spears and freaking tridents and shit.
Oh right, also
I mean, there's no wrong way to play. Like
because I play like my
no,
spear
if you're
paladin.
using a sword for Furion, the Ancient Sword's a very good one.
Also, if you make sure to make someone efficient in daggers, it makes them go fast. It makes them go first.
I have absolutely nobody. No, if you look at my stats, there's like level 1 dagger for everybody.
Yeah,
don't give a shit.
Dagger.
I use a dagger.
Yeah,
I use that. Well, like I said, guy just uses that. Guy can use everything. It's like
everyone can use everything. Well, okay.
I specifically made him more of a physical attacking thing.
I don't know. And maybe Uma Boy knows. For the Pixel Remaster, in the original game, while you could be anything, if you, like, let's say we're trying to make Maria a black mage, if you gave her equipment that a black mage couldn't normally use, you would actually get a detriment to your, whatever the intellect stat that would control your black mage damage. Because of that, like it was their way of being like, well, yeah, you can be a black mage with a, great axe, but you shouldn't be.
It's still that D&D thought. Still that D&D.
So it's one of those things. Like it was a soft way to prevent it without actually preventing it. But I don't know if that's still in the Pixel Remaster or not.
I don't think that's the case because, like I said way earlier, for my original party, I made Guy a black mage immediately. And I equipped him.
Well, it's not that you.
I'm gonna.
Right.
I'm going. Okay. But in his hands, I put a battle axe and a shield, and I put him on the back lines. And at this point, he's pretty much used the battle axe the whole game. He still has a 99 intellect now. Like he is maxed out on intellect. I don't.
Well, from what I understood from watching like a Let's Play, it was a hidden debuff, is what it was.
Oh.
So you weren't seeing the number go down, it was just being applied when you actually were doing damage.
If that's the case,
what's the hidden debuff one more time?
Tell. Well, he doesn't know if it exists in the remaster or not.
I don't know if it exists in the Pixel Remaster. Because I know it was in the original. If, let's say, Jacques, you had a black mage, if you were using equipment that a black mage normally shouldn't be using in Final Fantasy, like a great axe or something, it was applying a hidden debuff to your intelligence stat because you shouldn't be using that.
Okay.
So it's not like you could still make any character anything. You just couldn't make every combination of everything.
Okay.
Like any character can become, which is not the nice part. Like, you can look at the 4 characters and see like, yeah, this character's inclined to be this. Like the game wants you to make them this, but you don't have to. Like you can totally make them whatever you want. Which I do appreciate. Like it's very nice, and I like that we each kind of had different builds and stuff.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, we got an answer.
In the old one, while wearing heavy armor and weapons reduced the damage of spells, but that was removed in the GBA versions and later, so it shouldn't be in this one.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure on that, so I figured My Boy might have knowledge on that one. So okay, cool. It doesn't apply in this one.
Yeah, for anybody that's curious about this game, it's very proto Elder Scrolls, like in that all your skills are leveled based on usage rather than like
Yeah,
experience points.
which is why HP gets leveled up by taking damage, MP gets leveled up by using spells and using MP.
The biggest
Like evasion levels up by dodging. Like
the fact that literally it took this game took
This is the first
the
Sword Art
worst
Online.
aspect of it and
H-
actually finally made it interesting is wild. Because Final Fantasy 2 for the longest time, and even for people who haven't played, especially people who haven't played the Pixel remaster yet, still agree that Final Fantasy 2 is one of the worst Final Fantasy games ever. Because this battle system, because back in the old version, it was awful to do all this shit.
I mean, back in the old version, I do think that there was a lot of things that obviously they've refined in the GBA ports and the Pixel remaster to make a little bit better. But I will still stand by. I think that this game is much better than Final Fantasy 1, even if I'm playing the Famicom version of both.
Final Fantasy 1
and the heavy armor, like reducing your magic output thing, it makes sense like in the D&D world, which if you haven't picked up on it, because we haven't said it overtly, but the devs of Final Fantasy took a lot of influence from Dungeons and Dragons. They really liked it. Like it's admitted.
Final Fantasy 1 especially, the whole fact of spell charges was straight up just
AD&D,
like,
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this game a lot. I was surprised because I heard there was so much controversy and I was ready to shit on it. Because as you guys know, I'm very vocal about my opinions. I'm surprised that I liked it as much as I do. If you want an old school RPG that has a really interesting battle system and you're willing to give it a little bit of time to figure it out and go through it, I recommend Final Fantasy 2 so far. And I say so far because we have a second game club meeting coming up in 3 weeks, right?
Somewhere around there.
So
That's why I'll be playing some more after stream.
I believe next week you'll be unavailable, Scott, right?
Yes.
And then the week after that, Julian will be unavailable.
Yes.
And so the week after that, the 24th...
No, unless he says he wants to, unless he actually says he wants to be a part of the stream, which is up to him. I don't care.
So as of right,
I'd rather he not.
Just to sort of keep everything together.
Like him on stream.
I gotta go to bed. Okay, we're about to end everything here, Lag. But you have a good night. So the 24th is when we're going to be having the second discussion, and the second discussion is going to be everything from the Rebel Victory achievement, the taking of Castle Finn, the reclaiming of Castle Finn, I apologize, to the end of the game and post game. So that's including any post game. I don't know if they exist or not.
If there is any
but
post game,
monsters,
I honestly don't remember if
dungeons. Figure out ways to max out your level, see if we all take each other's. I'm definitely gonna max my HP because of what Scott told me. I didn't know that was a thing.
I did.
Yeah, I'm on that.
Finding ways to level up your magic, do all the spamming, get teleport and Toad. They're so fun.
Yeah, because you can also
They're
level
so
up magic
stupid.
by doing the same thing. Like you just keep attacking yourself.
I am a god right now.
The only thing I will say, you can't auto battle to attack yourself. Auto battle will automatically target the enemies.
Yes.
So that kind of sucked. I couldn't make it super quick, but
And then if you auto battle cure, it'll go to it'll change people depending on who needs it. So that's something to keep aware.
That is actually very nice though.
But
I thought it would just stay stagnant.
The 24th is when we'll be having our second game club for this game, and I want to start the discussion now. I don't want us to actually go into it, but on my Discord, if you give yourself the role game club, and instructions are there, I have a private channel that you'll get access to in the game club. Post suggestions of what games you'd like for future game clubs. June's going to be a little bit busy, so we might be able to do one if we find a game we can agree on. But the main criteria for a game club game, it has to be something that's easily accessible. It has to be something that isn't too long. So, like, for example, Persona 3 through 5 are really easily accessible. You can get them anywhere, but they're like 100-hour games. Even if you power rush through it, you're still going to spend
even if you're
like
power
80 hours
rushing,
in it.
it's going to be like a 40-50 hour game.
So
yeah, you go on easy mode with all the other shit, it still takes place.
Yeah, so if you have any suggestions, you want it to be, and they can be a little bit shorter, like 6-7 hours. We'll do like a one meeting game club if that's the case, or it can be a little bit longer, like this one, 20 to 30 hours. But if you have suggestions or things that you want to discuss or play along for the community, share them there, and we'll put it under consideration. Guys, do you have any last thoughts or ideas on Final Fantasy 2?
No,
Nah.
the only other thought I have is that literally, like, I am surprised I've been enjoying this as much as I have.
Yeah, so I was saying.
Like,
I was
I'm kind of
I
angry
still
surprised
think
with that.
about that.
I still
really.
think it suffers from a lot of old JRPG syndrome, but I still think it's actually a decently fun game that people should give a chance with the pixel remaster specifically.
Please don't play the other versions. Unless I guess you can play the GBA version.
I mean, I
Be
just suggest
curious.
this version because it seems like with a lot of the quality of life improvements and the fact that number one, it is the most easily accessible version.
Yep. From your phone to your PC
and then
to your Switch, you
with
can get
the
it.
quality of life improvements, it just makes for a really fun game.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I do truly recommend checking this out if you want to see a little bit more of Final Fantasy's origins.
Julian, Jock, anything else?
Nah, I actually like. Listen again.
Don't forget to wash behind your ears.
I mean, I guess yeah, that wash your ass, please.
I
But
said your
freaking.
ears. I said nothing about your ass. You keep that shit dirty.
God.
Anyways,
you don't have to keep your ass dirty. I
Well,
think
yeah,
you
I
guys
want
might
to see it and want to see skin particles pop off of it like dust.
Oh
Ew.
god. This is too horny for me. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
ahead
Lies.
and end stream with the end of this discussion. What were you gonna say, Jock?
Oh no, I was just saying like yeah, I'm honestly one thing that I just find interesting is just like again I would never would have played this game if I never would have played this game if we didn't decide to like do this game club thing. So I don't know,
You's a
it's
bitch.
very interesting. It's very interesting. You know, playing this game and how much I like it and being able to discuss it with other people who are also playing it for the first time. Even though it's an old game, which just usually only happens with newer ones.
Yeah. Wait until we do
Oh,
a
yeah, this
game that we
reminds me.
all hate. We're like have to
Before
play
we
through
end the
it.
right?
stream,
I mean, there's
Jacques,
gonna
tell the
eventually
story.
be
Tell
one.
the story of what happened to how you got this game.
Oh my god, fuck you. All right, what was it? Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so I waited too late to start playing the game. I procrastinated a little bit too much, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I can play this game on my laptop at work, so let me just install it on my laptop. I installed on my laptop, and so what was it? Most games on PC work decently well with the PS5 controller. Final Fantasy 2 isn't one of them. It like, all the face buttons were scrambled. It was like triangle was usually where circle is on the like where triangle usually is where circle was. And X was where like square was, and so on and so forth, right? And the pause button didn't work. Most of the buttons didn't work, right? And I borrowed Kate's Switch. It's a Kate Switch in order to play the game, and then like I realized, Julian asked me this, and I said I realized after getting a refund on the Steam version of the game that I could have
Remapped
like
buttons.
no, not remap, because like again, like straight up the pause button and the shoulder button just didn't work at all.
Yeah,
Period.
I got a story
Okay.
on that as well.
Yeah. So what was it? But I realized, oh yeah, I could have played with mouse and keyboard.
Duh.
Da-da-da-da! Fucking
Wow.
keyboard!
Yeah, but this is better because
Like
I'll be able to,
PC, it's
be able to
it's
do
like
things.
a fucking game where all you need to do is go up and down.
But this
and
is
press
better because
A.
I'll do things like play in my car. Like play like not in my car, but like play in the
Don't
car.
play
and
in your
stuff.
car while driving, please.
Yeah.
No, like play in the car while riding with somebody else who's driving or something, or like pull out the Switch while I'm at like a doctor's appointment. Like I did today, I was at a doctor's appointment and I just pulled out I just started playing this game while I was over there.
Maybe
Get a
maybe you
Steam
could
Deck.
play
you can
other.
do that too.
Oh,
I am
Jock.
sure.
Other games.
Kev said,
Maybe you
"Oh,
could
Jock."
play other games on. Maybe you could play it more if you had your own Switch.
I'm gonna say something about that experience because I had a very similar experience. I think it's the remake for whatever reason. I think it's a pixel remaster. Sorry. I plugged in my Scuff PlayStation 5 controller. This is what I use for everything basically that isn't fighting games, and on the main menu it was just my cursor going tick, 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 and I couldn't really control anything. So
Oh wow.
I had the keyboard option as well, but I don't like using keyboard too much. So that's why I showed this earlier. I am using my 8-bit Do controller or Do, however you say it, while I'm playing this
Okay.
game. But I think it's the PlayStation controller for whatever reason doesn't work too well on these pixel remasters. I'd have to look into it, but I had a similar experience. I am glad you
Yeah.
were able to find a way to play it though, even though yes, keyboard and mouse do work, or just keyboard. don't you have like 8 key? You know what? Now I'm realizing why they shit on you so much.
Well, yeah, he literally has spent like
Is
$100
your
something
whole
on a
keyboard?
keyboard.
That he
And he's
doesn't
able to swap out caps and everything else for and all that.
and then he had
Like,
It's
issue.
just
Do
dawning
you
on me.
know how
Okay,
badly
so to be
I
fair,
fucking was like,
I did not bring my keyboard to work with me.
Okay, I'm just saying.
but still, like, it's one of those things that
funny.
it's like, how did you not think that you could play it with a keyboard when literally you have spent money trying to get like really nice keyboards to play games on a keyboard?
That's so funny. It's so dumb.
it's
Yeah, I
so
will say this. I will say this. I would not. I don't think I would not have enjoyed it playing it on the keyboard as much because I don't know. For me, with that, with games like that, it's like I definitely
Yes, the
prefer
D-pad
like the D-pad.
definitely makes it so
I just
much
prefer,
different.
it's really just it's really just a thing of familiarity. It
I
feels
like
more
the D-pad
familiar
too, but
to play a game using like the D-pad or the joysticks
I don't know, with
rather than
turn-based
using, like,
RPGs, it doesn't.
you know, it doesn't
like,
feel
I
that
don't
weird.
see it
I'm
for
walking
other
around with SD. How do I do?
I
Enter.
have no idea how hard it was for me to contain my laugh. How hard it was for me to contain like a sheer laughter.
I hit
Oh,
He
a
was telling the
I hit a
story.
Julian,
wasp
quick-
for 3,000 damage. That might have been overkill.
Quick side thing, Julian. Don't buy
Mhm.
Disney Speedstorm.
Oh, I already heard. I've heard.
Oh,
heard.
I don't know
so
what
many
you've heard. It's not
Okay.
terrible,
Let's
but it pisses me off.
let's end this on a game
No.
club note. So, thank you everybody
I thought
for
we already
stopping by.
did, but-
Well, I'm gonna end stream. I'm gonna actually end stream because
Oh, okay.
yeah, my stomach. I've been sick since like Saturday, and
Oh dang!
I haven't
Sorry,
like
man.
made. I've made.
Damn, Omni.
Yeah.
Damn, Omni. Sucking all that cock must have really put a number on you.
It's-
I guess.
Hey, his
I-
body isn't used to the amount of cum.
My doctor said it's something called cum gut. I don't want to go into more
Yeah.
detail, but we'll go ahead and we'll stop there.
Maybe next time, don't be the bottom the only bottom in an orgy.
Do you think anybody would want me on top? I'm huge. I'd crush them.
There are plenty of people who
Ooh,
enjoy.
my boy,
being
my boy's about to
bottom.
raise his
People
hand.
who like that.
How dare
All
you?
I could think about was that.
Anyway.
time
Take shame those
mentioned about
people.
that.
God damn it. I'll be back on Saturday for stream as normal. We make Kevs of me. We're going to hint, Julian.
He's already told me I'm going to. When I come over, I'm supposed to lay on my stomach, play video games while he just presses his entire weight on top.
My
of me.
God, this is so gay.
I'm
we'll
going to be going from barely being touched to literally to someone constantly touching me. I am worried.
I don't know what LGG is gonna. Are you guys gonna have a regular stream next week without Scott, or are you gonna postpone?
Well, I think
It's
we'll
up to
probably
them.
have a like.
Of
Probably
course,
have
we're
regular
still
stream.
having a
Yeah.
regular stream next week, and someone's going to be on time to make sure I'm not the only person by myself.
So LGG will be back next week. I'll be back on Saturday, and we'll have the next game club meeting for the second half of Final Fantasy II.
Especially since he's the one who's going to be streaming.
24th. So, thank you all for helping out with this wonderful experiment. We'll be sure to have some more fun. Drop your suggestions in the Game Club channel on my Discord. But otherwise, thank you for stopping by. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Bye.